Guru Shishya Parampara. Before we begin, may we request you all to put your mobiles on silent mode. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, the holy lamp has been lit to mark the beginning of this beautiful 2-day-long cultural yatra. We now commence today's program by first inviting our musicians, Sangeet Acharya Bankim Sethi, Shri Prabhat Dangi, and Shri Harsh Sharma on stage, followed by Dr. Sonal Mansingh's disciples. Together, they will begin this morning's program with the auspicious singing of Shri Kamakhya Kalapit Stotra, written by Pandit Rishi Raj Pathak. That was very beautiful. And now, with the blessings of Sri Kamakhya, this program, which has begun this morning, will have 3 more sessions at 6 p.m. today and 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. tomorrow. It is being held at the IGNCA, which is the Indira Gandhi National Center for the Arts. The IGNCA seeks to place all kinds of art within the context of the natural and human environment through diverse programs of research, publication, training, creative activities, and performances. The fundamental approach of the center is that all its work will be both multi and interdisciplinary. Therefore, towards this endeavor, in December 2018, IGNCA initiated a new series of program called Deeksha Guru Shishya Parampara, based on the ancient tradition of passing knowledge from a teacher to his or her students. The first 6 editions of Deeksha, celebrating the compositions of the Sarod Maestro Ustad Amjad Ali Khan, Bansuri Guru Pandit Hari Prasad Chaurasya, musicologist Acharya Brihaspati, acclaimed Kathak exponent of India Pandit Birju Maharaj, the great Indian vocalist Bharat Ratna Pandit Bhim Sen Joshi, and a tribute to the Khayal style of Indian classical music, Padma Bhushan Pandit Rajan Mishra, with their disciples, was very well received by connoisseurs and lovers of music. This 7th edition of Deeksha is a tribute to an incomparable icon of India, Padma Bhushan, Padma Vibhushan, Fellow of Sangeet Natak Academy, Member Parliament Rajya Sabha, Dr. Sonal Mansingh. Dr. Sonal Mansingh has earned a unique place among dancers, having mastered multiple Indian classical dance forms like Bharatnatyam, Odissi, and Chau. A great scholar, a seasoned art administrator, and a beloved guru to many, she is the founder-president of Center for Indian Classical Dances, which she established in 1977. She has also been nominated as one of the Navratnas for Swachh Bharat Mission by the Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi. Dr. Sonal has served as the chairperson of National Sangeet Natak Academy and is serving her 2nd term as trustee IGNCA. It is indeed an honor for IGNCA to host Dr. Sonal Mansingh and her disciples in this series. May we, ladies and gentlemen, have a huge round of applause for this dance icon of India and all her disciples. I now request Dr. Sonal Mansingh and Mrs. Swati Bhise to come up to the stage for the first interaction of the morning. और अब आपको बताते हैं एक ख़ास बात। मिसेस स्वाति भीसे डॉक्टर सोनल के दिल के बहुत करीब हैं, क्योंकि ये गुरुजी की पहली शिष्या थीं और 1976 से उनके साथ जुड़ी हैं। आज इस कार्यक्रम में हिस्सा लेने के लिए वे विशेष रूप से न्यूयॉर्क से यहाँ आई हैं।
सुप्रभात सुप्रभात एंड बहुत अच्छा लगा कि आप लोग यहाँ हैं। कुछ हमारी मित्र कलाकार बाहर से आए हैं, स्कॉलर्स आए हैं, मित्र आए हैं और कुछ हमारे शारन जी, शाश्वती जी, वनश्री जी, ये सभी आए हैं, तो सभी का स्वागत है। मैं आशा करती हूँ कि कल भी आएंगे, जिनका पैनल ना हो फिर भी आएंगे सुनने के लिए। स्वाति 1977, 1977, she had come from Wellams, Dehradun. You were head girl? Whatever you were.
I was a topper.
She was terrible. Whatever. So, I'll just tell you quickly कि मैं उसको बार बार कहती हूँ कि तुमने मेरे गले में घंटा बांधा। Center for Indian Classical Dances, and I'm tied to it. I was not tied to my husband's, but I'm tied to center. So it's a lifelong. या मालविका क्या करूँ, बोलना पड़ता है। हंसते बहुत हैं हम दोनों. We both have a wicked sense of humor. So she's come from New York for 2 days, and then she's running back. She's doing a lot of things. धाकड़ है और बहुतों को उसने बहुत चीज़ें समझा दी हैं, अमेरिका में खास करके. तो I want her to, अभी भी बहुत ही busy है, she's created a special curriculum on Nari Shakti. She will tell you a little bit. I want her to tell you and remind me why she came to me, stood outside my door. Why? Oh, okay.
Namaskar everyone, and I am very honored to be here actually, because the journey has been very short, because time just seems to fly when I am with Sonal ji. And I firstly, her age has stayed the same of when I first met her when she was 31, all of 31. And she somehow doesn't seem to age. It's nothing to do with me praising her, because age is all in the mind. And she has proven that, of what energy you have or dedication. And being, a young girl from a school like Welham, a public school, very much English background, where every Tuesday we had to speak Hindi में lunch को बात करनी थी, तो lunch time बहुत silent रहता था, कोई बात ही नहीं करता था, और बाहर भाग के. तो जब मैं सोनल जी के यहाँ 77 में आई, पर before that 75, I first read the article that there is this person who had an accident, and it was in Span magazine, and Rising of the Phoenix. So I said, what is this Rising of the Phoenix? I had just gone to an auditorium and watched Swapna Sundari doing Kuchipudi in Dehradun. So I said, well, this is wonderful. Though I was always dancing in school, Manipuri, Kathakali, all these different, but there was no, Facebook, TikTok, all this, there was no internet. So as a young girl who's just told, academics, and my background at home was Maharashtrian, my father's side, Vijaya Mehta is my Atya, and the other side, actors, Nutan, Tanuja, Samarth family. There was no dance and no background for dance. There was always theater, and then there was acting, of course. I watched, then I told my parents I have to study dance. So my father had an assistant, he was posted in Delhi. I was taken to Yamini Krishnamurti, and I said, wonderful. But then I said, but I want to study dance. And they said, we took you. Then we took you to Kanak Ben in Bombay, who also said, come to me. And I did not go, and she was wonderful. I said, I have to study from this person. So I realized that it's like a homecoming. It was predestined. I don't think I had that much of a say, but there was, when I saw her perform and when I read about her, I said, I have to go to this person. She is the word guru for me. And I was, that time in 75, all of 15. So 76 I went, and she would run away from the back door and would not let me in. And she had this wonderful assistant or secretary, I don't know, Krishnamurti with white hair, scary looking person. He used to, toothless, and smile at me and saying, go, 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 just go. And I had nothing better to do, so I used to go to Claridge's, have my swim, come back in my denim Wrangler jeans, turtleneck, stand outside her door. And I used to say, she'll come out at some point. Well, then she started running away. Then she'd say, no, I can't teach you. You go to, this Hari Krishna Behra classes, ODC. I said, I don't want to do ODC. I want to study with you. So when she finally dragged me in and said, okay, it's my timing, whenever I want, you won't ask me what the fees are. I said, abhi haan sab ke liye bol do. Who cares? Baad mein dekhi jayegi. So of course, in I went. She had this lineup of people. And I was even touching her cook's feet. I still remember. I didn't know who was who. So, sabke pav chhu liye. Then she started saying, Acha, you have to do the jhadu and the pocha. I said, mere ghar mein nahi kabhi kiya. Either jhadu pocha karo, toothbrush se bathroom saaf karo. I said, okay, it doesn't matter. I learned one thing. What is a guru? I learned years later, now living in the United States and India. That it is not knowledge alone, or, the word, of course, we all know, gu and ru, mean dispeller of darkness. It was step by step. Every time people ask me, oh, so what did she do for you? Did she give you a program? A guru, I learned, is not supposed to give. I grasped knowledge from observing her. Her way of teaching for me was being in her presence. The class was never 10 to 11, 11 to 2:30. It was the maximum I have ever learned was observing her. I used to watch her rehearsals for hours. She'd just get up and say, "Acha, you now sit there and try and compose and wo tal rakho." And I used to say, "I don't know, you've not taught this to me. I didn't know why I knew Sankirna Malaripu before I knew Tishram." That's when I realized it was just by osmosis. Not just that, it was learning about the sense of dress, the sense of color, the sense of how to conduct oneself, how to speak, shastras. So I've always felt when I'm teaching now, there are 4 pillars. There is the home, like they say, the ghar ki values, sanskar. Then you, of course, have your schools and institutions. To sab bolte, Stanford, Harvard, Princeton, wonderful institutions. But the 2 pillars that are lacking today and is the self-motivation and fire that we need to have. And we need someone who fans that fire. So I found the person who could fan it, who could show a path. And even with this years of distance, any critical point in my life or career, I go back to that very teaching that was imparted to me. And I didn't realize that there was no plan. But when I'm sitting there thinking, what do I do? Then I would say, yeah, Sonal ji had told me. I don't think I should tell her it's all because of her. But it is because of her. Because certain things that I was taught that I didn't believe or agree as a 18 or 20 or 25-year-old, I more than agree now, because that is the whole path of wisdom that was given and that I was able to understand it today every single day. So unless you have access, which I was very fortunate to have had the brain to even go and insist that I had to learn from somebody like her. And she was a disciplinarian, thank God, but tremendous disciplinarian, which she has forgotten now. She said, "Ha, aake baitho." Last time also I told her. We were taught, why I pushed my chair back, that the guru and the shishya never sit in line. So Sonal ji has forgotten, I'm reminding her. So then why did you come and sit next to me? I had to push my chair back. So then she also taught me to argue a lot, which we used to argue. She says, I'm like your mother. She's not like my mother. How can she be? She's only 16 years older than me. But, okay, no need to get into the details of it. But the fun part was I saw her at her most glamorous self. Glamorous to the point that for this young girl, I was like, yeah, this is amazing. Look at the clothes she wears. There was no, of course she wore the most gorgeous saris and jewelry and all of that. But total style fashion icon. So when you're young, you need someone who can say, here is the Sanskriti, here is the beauty of the art, but there's someone who's creating, not just following rules. There's choreography happening. I'm watching her doing Navaras in different manners, Sita Swayamvar, where I see Sita come alive, questioning how Draupadi is done. All of that was layers and layers that was built over the years. Or she would say, just sit here and eat karelas with me. And I was like, why should I eat karelas? I don't like karelas. And you have to eat good and chapati. All of that was the old Guru Shishya Parampara. That today, unfortunately, I'm having karelas and I'm having good and roti even sitting in New York. And telling everyone why it's so good and healthy. But the guru of what today, I don't know, but the olden days of what we studied, I was privileged. That was a way of life, a way of how to deal with life, a way of how to move ahead and to keep thinking. The festivals that Sonal ji started so early in Delhi, I saw her promoting young dancers who that time, I remember it was Leela Samson and Swapna Sundari and Banasri Das Gupta and Geeta Chandran and Geeta also with Kathak, Shashwati. Yes, so I recall all of them. I remember her inviting even Shandharao ji, senior artist, of course. So for a young girl, I had to go pick them. I would tell her, Kishori ji is not coming because her Tanpura is off tune. And she'd say, go deal with it. I used to say, how do I deal with it? She used to say, you'll figure it out. That was learning. I had to figure it out. That I did not realize at that point. Or she would say, I said, just go and finish that item. Now go and do this. There was no, am I doing Manavi? She'd say, whenever I decide on stage, kya mood hai, so you better be prepared. It was that which really helped me today to understand spontaneity, your ability to create on stage and not say, acha, you know, this check mark, and then yahan shuru karo, yahan khatam karo. Because she expected that, you never record. We used to have cassette players then. We didn't have photographs. I do not remember her ever allowing books and notebooks in class. She used to say, what, are you a channi or are you a sponge? No praise, but I was very happy that if she didn't glare at me, then I knew theek ho gaya. She'd come back from Germany between all her travels, and when she'd come back, you knew that you either had to get your full item done correctly, or she was not going to teach you. There was no question that, oh, I'll rehearse, main bhool gayi. She's become very, very nice to all you disciples now. I think I would have been thrown out of that class. And it was scathing, the criticism, scathing. One learned to understand that it's not, I never thought, my rights, what are my rights? And my guru's talking to me like this. And I didn't have any anxiety, and I didn't get emotional trauma, all these terms that I use today, nor did I go to a therapist. I became very strong. And it is that strength that I thank her for today that has got me through many hurdles, public, personal. I am involved in a lot of teaching activities or even meeting different kind of people, and I have not had to change or morph myself into something else. Living in the United States, I'm still speaking like this. I still uphold my heritage and culture. I feel the ability to speak what I think I don't agree with. And all of that is still back to the root. Learning from my guru. And I think the strength of, she always tells me, you just say anything. I said, who taught me to be Muphat? You know? You just say it the way it is. So I said, I became a good Shishya. I learned ki jo bhi hai bol do. So with all of that, I am very grateful that I have seen others, you know, the doors open. Though she says, Ghanta Bandi, that is something, I was chosen to just push her to do it and have others because she's got so many children, taught so many. And that seed has gone to teach many more. But that is the root. And when you don't have a root, there's a very difficult saying, I almost say that what is fusion? Fusion cannot be born without understanding your root. So all this modernness, I love modern abstract, but if you haven't studied the old masters or the paintings or your tradition, you are not able to say modern. I often lecture in New York by saying antiquities are harder to understand. If I look at a nice red blob, I can say anything. I look at it for hours and say, well, it could mean this, it could. But if you don't know what your root is. So along with the learning, I had to learn also about sculpture, painting. She insisted that I watch every concert of every person in Delhi, come back, explain, be critical. I watched her composing the Gita Govind, Mary Magdalene, and I said, how come she's doing Mary Magdalene? But that's what a young girl saw, that this amazing young dancer who is running all over the country, working hard, is a single young woman, not living off any man, and is a woman in her own right. This is who I would inspire to want to be. Her existence, like I used to say, Durga did not exist because of a father, mother, or a husband, or a brother. And so when I did go on to make the film The Warrior Queen of Jhansi, which is a Hollywood film, I did have a certain line with Sonal ji in mind: mother, daughter, sister, friend, but above all, a Veerangana, a warrior. And that is what has been the refrain for me, that somebody who first nurtures her passion, her goals, her life, can only be an inspiration to someone. You cannot be there for someone else when you aren't there for yourself. And you don't follow that into giving. So on that note, thank you all for understanding what an amazing bond I have. Because when she says, you have to come, tumko aana hi hai, then you know, it doesn't matter where I am, I have to drop everything. Because that is the Guru asking something of the Shishya. And she rarely asks.
Yeah, she and the other one, Meera, who's come from Seattle, she was the first. And she remains, it's like an umbilical cord, यहाँ से ये connection है. तो सब फरियाद करते हैं पुराने वाले. Pramod is also here, they'll be speaking. I have become very lenient. I have not become lenient, I am myself, but I think the takers are not strong enough. I think that all the dancers, musicians who are teaching, they'll agree with me. There's Nandini, Parul Band, Kumud, Shubhendra ji, Saskia, Sharon, Shashwati, all. तो ये generational जो फ़र्क आता गया है, that I hope and I pray every day that does not somehow weaken the roots about which she spoke. जो जड़ें हैं वो ढीली होती जा रही हैं, तो पेड़ तो गिर जाएगा एक दिन, हम चाहें या ना चाहें. तो अभी के बच्चे कुछ कहो तो मुंह लटक जाता है, आँख में पल पल पानी आता है, क्रिटिसिज्म नहीं ले सकते. Parents are also very nice. Everybody is nice. Nice is a bad word actually. It's a bad word. I don't like that word. Somebody is nice. It's negative. You have to be, if you go to learn somewhere, if you go to school, you have to learn. You have to produce results. You go to learn dance, you go to learn music, you go to learn whatever. तो ये जो एक भावना है ना, the passion, पहले मैं कहूँ passion, तो we are lucky to have passion and if we recognize it. बहुत लोगों में passion है लेकिन उनको पता नहीं चलता किसके लिए है. But if you choose something, you do something. And as I keep telling somewhere when I get angry, I said, listen, I didn't come and मैंने आपको हाथ पकड़ के नहीं बुलाया है. आप आए हैं. आप सीखने आए हैं तो सीखिए. हमने आपको नहीं आमंत्रित किया है. My Guruji, both Keru sir, Odissi, and Professor Krishna Rao, especially, not Chandrabhaga Devi. So I repeat that ad nauseum कि हमने लकड़ियाँ खाई हैं जहाँ कोहनी बोन पे लगता है, घुटने बोन पे लगता है, तंबूरा बजता है अंदर, खड़ाक अप अनुस्वर बिल्कुल सवाल ही नहीं. ये जो एक रिस्पेक्ट, दैट निष्ठा, दैट डेडिकेशन कि आपको कुछ भी सीखना हो उसके लिए आपका मन पूरा तैयार कर लीजिए, वरना मत सीखिए. हाँ, इतना ये जैसे चना मुरमुरा हो गया, मूंगफली हो गया, ये थोड़ा ठीक है, जानने के लिए अच्छा है. बट व्हेन यू कम टू लर्न, यू गो टू लर्न एनीवेयर, you have to have full respect, dedication, devotion and love for it. प्यार, प्रेम. ऊपर से पैर छू लिए, अरे मत छुओ पैर, मत छूइए. No need for that. तो मुझे ये सब सुन के बहुत खुशी भी हो रही है, आनंद हो रहा है. मेरे इतने बीते वर्षों में कुछ किया है, कोशिश कर रही हूँ आज भी. और मेरा तो यही कहना है कि आज की जनरेशन हो या कल की हो या परसों की आएगी, तो काल करे सो आज कर, आज करे सो अब, पल में परलय होएगी बहुरी करेगा कब। तो आज का जो इसका वर्जन है, आज करे सो कल कर, कल करे सो परसों, इतनी जल्दी क्या है यारों जब जीना है बरसों। हैव यू अंडरस्टूड? नो, आई डोंट हियर एनी। हाँ, तो नहीं, ये बच्चे बैठे हैं आज के हमारे, तो अंदर कुछ होता नहीं है। आई सी देयर फेसेस मुरझाए हुए, आंखें डल। ये तो एक हो गया है ना, लैपटॉप पे काम करना है। कोविड हैज़ ऑल्सो टेकन इट्स टोल। हाउ टू गेट ओवर दीज इम्पेडिमेंट्स, ऑब्स्टिकल्स, ये आपको डांस सिखाता है। द फिजिकल स्ट्रेंथ, द इमोशनल स्ट्रेंथ, मेंटल स्ट्रेंथ टू डील विथ सिचुएशंस। उसमें ये आप डूब गए तो जिंदगी क्या है? किसी को लगता होगा, मैंने भी सुना है, सोनल जी तो यू नो शी हैज़ नो प्रॉब्लम्स। यस, आई हैव नो प्रॉब्लम्स। I live in rented apartments all my life because I poured my money into building the institute. I've sold my jewelry. I've lived in various little, before you came to me, with friends or in IIC or in musicians' houses, 2-room houses, with 2 pitara, 2 bags. I've done all that. आज आप जो देख रहे हैं वो इसकी वजह से है, जो बता रही थी स्वाति। Not giving up. पैशन है, उस रास्ते पे चलो, अग्नि परीक्षाएं देते चलो। तो बस यही हमारी सेशन का अब अंत करते हैं।
After Sonal ji said all this, I wanted a message for the new students. Can you put your hand up, any of the students, young students? How many of you आप घर में या कभी स्त्री चलाई है आपने? अच्छा, ओके, तो मैं एक बात आपको समझा दूंगी, दैट सोनल जी के साथ रह के यू लर्न टाइम मैनेजमेंट, टाइम पे आना, सब लिख के मत रखो, अपने दिमाग में रखो, बी प्रिपेयर्ड, बी डिसिप्लिन्ड, हैव ह्यूमिलिटी, नॉट दिस, बिकॉज वो तो ह्यूमिलिटी माने मार मार के आपका ईगो निकाल देंगी, तो निकाल देंगी। तो when people would tell me न्यूयॉर्क में, how come you don't praise your students? I said, Sonal ji never praised me, why should I praise them? I said, अब मैं शुरू कर दूँ, you are so good. I said, the fact that she never left the room, you were supposed to be grateful. If she left the room, it was like, भैया थोड़ा मुंह सीधा करो, आपको अभिनय नहीं आता तो आप मत सीखिए. So you understood, you cringed with all of that. So a little episode of when I did make the film, the Hollywood film, The Man Who Knew Infinity and Warrior Queen, except for Sonal ji, everyone asked me, hey, you have no background in filmmaking. How did you make a Hollywood movie with 250 crew? The only one who didn't ask me is my own guru. Because on no budgets, I learned to work from her, run art shows, run around auditoriums, put up posters, create the posters under her, write letters and say, invite press, invite. This is, as a teenager, you're learning this. What is the use of all your good education if I couldn't have written a letter? I didn't say, this is not my job, no. I will only come and dance and go. Having learnt every single thing, when I was asked during my interviews in Toronto Film Festival and Tribeca, I said, if you have trained under someone like my guru, done 2 hours solo, and learned to smile at the end of it, I said making a Hollywood film was no big deal. So I do want to end on that. It really wasn't a big deal. I even made the costumes because I went to Bollywood. Every costume designer did not understand historically what a Peshwa sari is. She had taught me how to look at weaves, how to look at colors, how to be minimalistic and yet maximize. Each of these traits are what makes you that whole artist, the whole dancer. A dancer is not just somebody who dances. It is the educator, the dancer, the painter, the person you are, the philosopher. And that I learned from my guru. Sonal ji.
Thank you so much.
This was so heartwarming, Swati ji, and so inspiring. May I request Dr. Sonal Mansingh to felicitate Mrs. Swati Bhise?
And now, Durga.
See, I was blessed, and in every life I've told her, मैं पीछा नहीं छोड़ूंगी.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Our next panel consists of Sangeet Acharya Shri Bankim Sethi, Shri Chandrakant Sutar, and Ms. Pallavi Pramanik. May I request them to come up on stage? Veteran vocalist Bankim Sethi, who has been with Dr. Sonal since 1976, is also a recipient of the 2013 Sangeet Natak Academy Award. He will be the moderator for this discussion. Chandrakant ji and Pallavi ji have learned Odissi dance from Guruji, and they are now themselves teaching the same to young enthusiastic students. May I now request Shri Bankim Sethi to take this session ahead.
जय श्री माई। प्रणाम। यहाँ उपस्थित एक एक व्यक्ति को मैं प्रणाम कर रहा हूँ। सब लोग ज्ञानी है, गुणी है, पूज्य है, और मैं एक संगीतकार हूँ। संगीतकार होने के नाते मैं हमेशा झुकते रहूँ, मेरे गुरु ने सिखाया। क्योंकि एक गुरु शिष्य का जो रिलेशन होता है, मैं संगीत सीखा हूँ। सबसे प्राचीन गुरु जो उड़ीसा के, अभी तो कोई नहीं है, वो भाग्यवश मेरे समय में सब थे। 3 गुरुओं के पास मैंने सीखा और घर से भाग के आया। क्योंकि जब तक आप त्याग नहीं करेंगे तब तक कुछ चीज़ में सफलता नहीं मिलती। मैं 11 साल उम्र में भागा, क्योंकि मेरे मन में एक था इच्छा। संगीत में मैं तो गाना गाता हूँ, यात्रा में गाता हूँ, थिएटर में गाता हूँ, लोग सब प्रशंसा करते हैं, और क्या सीखना है। नहीं, मुझे पता चल गया था उड़ीसा के मिट्टी में जो खुशबू संगीत में है, वो अभी तक मेरे पास नहीं मिला, मेरे पास आया नहीं। तो उसके अन्वेषण में मैं गया, और देखिए संयोगवश वही गुरु मिले जो मैं मन में चाहता था, अगर ये मिल जाए तो बहुत अच्छा। और संगीत महाविद्यालय में तब मैं एडमिशन लिया, 6 साल शिक्षा की, और बाद में 1 साल इधर उधर भागा दौड़ी किया। अशांति रहा मन में। मैंने कहा कि क्या हुआ, मैं तो डिग्री ले लिया, ज्ञानी नहीं बना। मुझे ज्ञानी बनना है। ज्ञान तब मिलता है जब आपका एक्सपीरियंस बढ़ता है। तो उसके लिए मुझे लगता है कि उड़ीसा में तो बहुत है, कला है, कलाविद हैं, ग्रंथकार है, सब कुछ वहाँ मौजूद है। लेकिन बाहर मुझे जाना है। बाहर का जो वातावरण कैसा है, और वो जब तक आपको ना पता चले तब तक कुछ नहीं मिलता। सोनाल जी के नाम और संयुक्ता पाणिग्राही जी के नाम, दोनों के नाम हम सुनते थे। मन में था कभी अगर मैं दिल्ली जाऊं तो सोनाल जी मिल सकते हैं। सोनाल जी के लिए मैं क्यों मन में रखा ध्यान, क्योंकि मुझे कुछ आगे करना है उड़ीसी नृत्य के माध्यम से, तो ऐसे एक स्थान में पहुंचे हुए कलाकार मुझे चाहिए। लेकिन मुश्किल काम है, चलो देखते हैं। 73 में मैं आ गया, 1973 दिल्ली। तब छोटा सा था दिल्ली, एक ही बस में घूमते थे सारा दिल्ली। तो जो भी हो, फिर आया वो सुवर्ण समय, मिला मुझे जो चाहिए था, और तब से आज तक 48 साल हो गया, 48 इयर्स। और क्योंकि ये बहुत आवश्यक है, नृत्य को आगे बढ़ाने के लिए म्यूजिक चाहिए, म्यूजिक को आगे बढ़ाने के लिए नृत्य चाहिए। आप सोलो गा के आप बहुत बड़े गुरु बन सकते हैं, विद्वान बन सकते हैं, वो अलग बात है। वहाँ तक पहुँचने के लिए आपको कितने पापड़ बेलने पड़ते हैं। लेकिन संगीत के लिए नृत्य अगर माध्यम होगा तो नृत्य जहाँ जहाँ जाएगा संगीत वहाँ वहाँ चलेगी। वही हुआ। आज जो संगीत, उड़ीसी संगीत बोलने से लोगों को पता चलता है उनका टेक्निक कैसे ना नृत्य के माध्यम से आया बाहर। तो इसलिए मैंने सोनाल जी के साथ रहा, मेरा एक्सपीरियंस बहुत रहा, संक्षेप में मैं बता नहीं सकता। और एक चीज़ मैं कहूँगा कि आज के जो अभिभावक और बच्चे हैं, मैं कामाख्या कलापीठ में काफ़ी दिन, 15 साल या मेरे ख्याल में 17-18 साल रहा। बच्चे आए, फिर गए, फिर आते हैं, फिर जाते हैं। जो बच जाता है उनके ऊपर ध्यान जाता है। मैंने खुद देखा गुरुजी कैसे सिखाते हैं। जब तक बच्चा वो जगह में नहीं है कि मैं आया हूँ सीखने के लिए गुरु के पास, वो शिष्यत्व का जो एक अवधारणा मन में है वो तब नहीं है, तो माँ खींच के ले आते हैं ज़बरदस्ती, चल बेंच से सीखना है। वो नहीं हो पाता है। इसलिए आते हैं फिर चले जाते हैं, आते हैं चले जाते हैं। आज मेरे साथ मेरी सुपुत्री पल्लवी, इनको मैं छोटी सी थी, मैं ला के छोड़ दिया सोनाल जी के पास। मिट्टी को पानी डाल के उसको, या उड़िया में बोलते चकट के, चकटी 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 उसको बनाते हैं। फिर उसको धीरे धीरे मटका का रूप देते हैं, फिर उसको आग में जलाते हैं, फिर तैयार हो जाता है मटका। ये मटका होकर तैयार है, पानी नहीं है अंदर। मटका में पानी जब तक नहीं डालोगे तब तक संपूर्ण नहीं होता है। तो कोई आते हैं, थोड़ा सा 2 गिलास पानी डाल के चले जाते हैं, फिर कोई आते हैं 1 बाल्टी पानी डाल के चले जाते हैं। तो इस तरह होता है। मैंने कहा कि तुम अब मटका तैयार हो, बस पानी डालना तुम्हारा काम है। गुरु के पास जाओ, गुरु से और आगे क्या सीखना है सीखो, और उनके संस्पर्श में अगर रहोगे सब कुछ भला हो जाएगा जिंदगी में, क्योंकि यहाँ तक तुम पहुँच गए हो। और ये हमारे सुतार जी है, चंद्रकांत जी है, इनके पिताजी मेरे साथ गाना सीख रहे थे। तो अचानक इनको मैंने दिल्ली में देखा और एक डांस में देखा, तो मुझे कुछ इनके अंदर नजर आया। तो मैं सोनाल जी को बताया आके, फिर लेके आया। अब इनके मुंह से, दोनों के मुंह से थोड़ा सुनिए क्या क्या अभिज्ञता रहा है गुरु के पास रह के, अब तो क्या 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 है और आगे क्या करना चाहते हैं। पहले पल्लवी।
धन्यवाद। सर्वप्रथम मेरा प्रणाम गुरुजी को, और सभा में उपस्थित सभी गुरुजनों और अतिथिगणों को मेरा नमस्कार। मैं गुरुजी का बहुत बहुत आभार प्रकट करना चाहती हूँ कि आज इस मंच पे मुझे 2 शब्द कहने के लिए आमंत्रित किया, और मैं ये अवसर को अपनी तरफ से पूरी कोशिश करूँगी कि इसमें ऐसी कुछ बातें शेयर करूँ जो गुरुजी के साथ मेरे बिताए हुए कई वर्षों का एक छोटा संक्षिप्त में सबके सामने मैं रखने की कोशिश करूँगी। जैसा बंकिम जी ने बताया कि उन्होंने मुझे गुरुजी के समक्ष लाके सीखने के लिए छोड़ दिया, तो ये जो सीखने की जो बात बंकिम जी ने भी बताई कि हम माँ बाप जो हैं लेकर आ जाते हैं कि हाँ डांस सीखना है, लेकिन जब मेरे माता पिता ने मुझे गुरुजी के पास जब भेजा तो उन्होंने ये सोच के नहीं भेजा कि ये हमने एक डांस स्कूल में उसका एडमिशन कराया है। उन्होंने पूरी तरह से गुरुजी पर विश्वास करके, क्योंकि जब मैं गुरुजी के पास जाती हूँ तो जैसा स्वाति दीदी ने भी बताया कि कोई 1 घंटे या 2 घंटे की क्लास के लिए नहीं, ये एक तरीके से जिस तरह से हम स्कूल में एडमिशन लेते हैं उसी तरह से हमने गुरुजी के पास अपने आप को समर्पित कर दिया। तो गुरुजी के साथ रह के ऐसे तो कई वर्षों में कई चीज़ें हैं जो कुछ चंद घंटों में चंद मिनट्स में नहीं बताई जा सकती, बट मैं कुछ थोड़ा बहुत शेयर करना चाहूँगी जिसमें जो मुझे कुछ चीज़ें जो मैं आज भी लेकर चलती हूँ कि गुरुजी ने सिर्फ नृत्य को उजागर करने के लिए, नृत्य को आपके शरीर में ढालने के लिए नहीं काम किया। गुरुजी का आज तक भी यही प्रयास है। जो हम पुराने स्टूडेंट्स हैं हम ये मानते हैं, और आज उस वक्त शायद हमें ये नहीं समझ में आ रहा था, लेकिन आज समय के साथ साथ जब हम जीवन के अलग अलग रास्ते में पहुंच रहे हैं तब ये समझ में आ रहा है कि गुरुजी ने कुछ जो उसमें पॉइंट्स हैं। सबसे पहला आत्म अनुशासन, कि आप अगर सब कुछ भी विद्या लेना चाहते हैं, चाहे वो डांस हो, म्यूज़िक हो, या हम किसी भी क्षेत्र में अपनी विद्या पाना चाहते हैं, तो सबसे पहले सेल्फ डिसिप्लिन होना बहुत ज़रूरी है, जिसमें गुरुजी ने हमें योग के माध्यम से और कई संस्कृत के श्लोक्स हैं, और जिसमें सिर्फ आपका मन और शरीर ही नहीं, आपकी पूरा ओवरऑल डेवलपमेंट होता है उससे, उन सब चीज़ों पे ध्यान दिया। दूसरा, गुरुजी ने हमेशा इस चीज़ पर ये किया कि आप जो भी सीख रहे हो उसकी निरंतर साधना करिए। जो हम क्या करते हैं, आजकल लोगों को लगता है कि एक आइटम सीख लिया हो गया, बट गुरुजी ने हमेशा इस चीज़ पे जोर दिया कि जो भी सीख रहे हो उसको समझ के करो। इसलिए कई बार हमें डांस क्लास में ऐसा नहीं है कि हम सिर्फ जाकर सिर्फ आइटम प्रैक्टिस कर रहे हैं। कई बार ऐसी क्लासेस भी होती थी कि गुरुजी का जो घर था C304 डिफेंस कॉलोनी में, हम लोग गुरुजी ने एकदम से सब बच्चों को कहा कि चलिए सामने वाले पार्क में चलते हैं। तो वो जो नेचर वॉक होता था, तो उसमें उस टाइम पे आज मैं ये फील कर पा रही हूँ, क्योंकि उस टाइम पे गुरुजी हमें बताती, तुमने ये पेड़ की टहनी देखी कैसे झूल रही है, या उस पक्षी को देखा। तो हम, मेरे साथ मेरी दूसरी पल्लवी भी थी जो भरतनाट्यम करती, तो हम दोनों एक दूसरे को देखते थे, क्योंकि कई बार हमें नहीं समझ में आता था कि गुरुजी का क्या। लेकिन धीरे धीरे समय के साथ जब हमारी उम्र भी बढ़ी तब हमें समझ में आया कि गुरुजी का वो क्या तात्पर्य, कि अपने डांस को कैसे रियलिस्टिक बनाना, कि ऐसा नहीं है कि सिर्फ जाकर आप 3-4 स्टेप्स कर रहे हो, या एक अड़वू कर रहे हो, या अरसा कर रहे हो। पूरे, चाहे आप 5 मिनट का डांस करें या 10 मिनट का डांस करें, हर प्रैक्टिस आपका एक परफॉर्मेंस के बराबर होना चाहिए। गुरुजी ने एक बात ये भी कही थी कि 100 रिहर्सल एक प्रोग्राम के बराबर होता है कई बार। तो वो हमें प्रैक्टिस, क्योंकि कई बार हम सोचते थे कि अभी हम ऐसे ही कर लेते हैं, स्टेज पे अच्छा करेंगे, लेकिन ऐसा नहीं होता। हमेशा उसका जो चीज़ आप निरंतर अभ्यास कर रहे हैं उस चीज़ को ही वो धीरे धीरे निखरता है। और सबसे बड़ी बात जो गुरुजी के क्लास में हम योग साधना के साथ साथ संस्कृत के श्लोक, मैंने हिंदी में ग्रेजुएशन किया था, किंतु संस्कृत मेरा जो डेवलप हुआ है वो गुरुजी के साथ, क्योंकि आज मुझे इतने श्लोक पता हैं और उसका अर्थ भी पता है जस्ट बिकॉज। और गुरुजी हमें उनके माताजी के जो सापुतारा में जो इंस्टीट्यूट था वहाँ पर लेकर गई थी। वहाँ उन्होंने सिर्फ हमें ट्रैकिंग करते करते उन्होंने नवग्रह श्लोक सिखा दिया, जो मुझे आज तक याद है। ये 20 साल पहले की बात मैं बता रही हूँ। सो कुछ एग्जाम्पल ऐसे हैं जो हमारे साथ साथ अभी तक चल रहे हैं। उस टाइम पे हम शायद नहीं समझ पा रहे थे, लेकिन आज जो विद्या गुरुजी से मिली है इतने सालों में, वो कहीं भी बेकार नहीं गई है। उसको चाहे मैं अपने किसी भी लोगों को सिखा रही हूँ, उन सब चीज़ों में वो दिखती है। एक बस आखिर चीज़ मैं बताना चाहूँगी कि गुरुजी का हर बात पे, जैसे अभी उन्होंने एग्जाम्पल दिया कि काल करे सो आज कर। तो इसी तरह कभी कोई दोहा या कुछ पंक्तियों के द्वारा गुरुजी ने हर बात को समझाने की कोशिश की। सो एक बार मैं कोई आइटम प्रैक्टिस करते करते भूल गई थी जो कि गुरुजी ने सिखाई थी। गुरुजी ने कुछ पंक्तियाँ ऐसे बोली, पान सड़े घोड़ा अड़े विद्या विसर जाए, तावे पर रोटी जले कहो गुरु कौन उपाय। तब गुरुजी ने उसका अंत में एक उपाय बताया, फेरा न था। जैसे पान को हम पान के पत्तों को एक साथ रखते हैं, अगर उसको आपने देखा होगा कि पान की दुकान में अगर वो बार बार उनको छांटते हैं तो वो अगर छांटेंगे नहीं तो वो सड़ जाएगा। घोड़े को अगर हम उसका चक्कर नहीं लगाएंगे नियमित रूप से तो वो अड़ा रहेगा और जब ज़रूरत होगी तब वो तैयार नहीं होगा। विद्या को अगर हम रेगुलर, कोई भी विद्या को अगर रेगुलर प्रैक्टिस नहीं करेंगे तो वो आपके दिमाग से निकल जाएगा। तावे पे अगर रोटी को पलटेंगे नहीं तो वो भी जल जाएगा। उसी तरह यही था कि हमें लगातार निरंतर अपना जो भी हम सीख रहे हैं उसको हमें अपने साथ निरंतर अभ्यास में लाते रहना चाहिए। इसी के साथ मैं गुरुजी को प्रणाम करते हुए आप सबका धन्यवाद।
प्रणाम गुरुजी। यहाँ पे उपस्थित सभी गुरुजनों को मेरा नमस्कार। दादा प्रणाम। जब मैंने अभी भी मेरा हार्ट बीट चल रहे हैं, थोड़ा डर है क्योंकि गुरुजी के सामने बैठा हूँ और गुरुजी ने मुझे ये अवसर दिया यहाँ पे गुरुजी के सामने बैठ के कुछ बोलने के लिए। तो मैं कृतज्ञ से भी बहुत आगे परे हूँ, कहाँ तक उसकी शब्द नहीं है। और गुरुजी के लिए मैं अगर कुछ बोलूँ तो उस भाषा कोश में ही ऐसा कुछ नहीं है। मैं लास्ट 10 साल से मैं गुरुजी के साथ रहा हूँ। ये सब बिल्कुल मैं इनको दादा ही बोलता हूँ, दादाजी के वजह से ही है। मैं पोस्ट ग्रेजुएशन हूँ उत्कल यूनिवर्सिटी से, भुवनेश्वर से, ओडिसी डांस फील्ड में। हमारे ओडिया में कहावत है कि डालमा जो होता है, एक डिश होती है डालमा, जिसमें दाल होती है और सारे सब्जियां डालते हैं हम उसमें, और उस सारे सब्जी बनने के बाद उसमें एक छोंक डाला जाता है। तो जब तक वो छोंक नहीं डाला जाता तब तक डालमा संपूर्ण नहीं होता है। तो मैं पोस्ट ग्रेजुएशन तो कर लिया, तो मैं डालमा बन गया था, लेकिन दिल्ली आके जब मैं गुरुजी के शरण में गया तो वो छोंक मुझे यहीं से ही मिला। तो गुरुजी, अगर मैं वो स्पेशल डिश हूँ आज, तो गुरुजी बिकॉज ऑफ यू ओनली गुरुजी। तो अगर मैं आज कुछ यहाँ पे बोल भी पा रहा हूँ गुरुजी, आपके वजह से ही बोल पा रहा हूँ, वो छोंक के वजह से ही बोल पा रहा हूँ मैं आज कुछ भी बोल पा रहा हूँ। तो सबने, मैम ने बोला, स्वाति मैम ने बोला, पल्लव जी ने बोला, इन लोगों गुरुजी के साथ इतने कई सालों से काम किया है। मैं तो अभी 8 साल उसके मतलब जो भी है, जब मैंने देखा कि मैं बोलने वाला हूँ तब से मैं सोचूं क्या बोलूँ, अभी तक डरा हुआ हूँ गुरुजी क्योंकि आपके सामने जी फिर भी गुरुजी दम रख के मैं आपको नतमस्तक करता हूँ गुरुजी। जितने भी मैंने आपसे सीखे हैं उसको कभी मैं आगे बढ़ाता जाऊँगा, उसको कभी भूलूंगा नहीं। पूरी जीवन भर तक, अंत तक आपसे जो भी सीखा है उसको आगे लेते जाऊँगा गुरुजी। सर प्रणाम, सभी को प्रणाम।
अंत में प्रणाम करता हूँ सोनाल जी, और इनको मैंने बड़ी बहन माना। मैं छोटा भाई हुआ। घर के अंदर भाई बहन का कभी पड़ता नहीं है, बहुत कम पड़ता है, लेकिन परिवार के लिए दोनों खड़े होते हैं। तो इस तरह हमारा रिलेशन रहा है और मैं हमेशा अंत तक यही सोचूंगा कि मेरा जो आज संगीत में अग्रगति हुई है वो ऊपर वाला का एक बहुत बड़ा आशीर्वाद था इनके साथ रहने का। मैं कुछ शुरू किया था बातें अभिभावक लोगों के लिए, बच्चों को जो सिखा रहे हैं और जो नहीं सिखा रहे हैं। देखिए, बच्चों को सिखाना, और ये मत सोचिए कि सीखना समाप्त हो गया, पढ़ाई कर ली, डिग्री ले लिया, सर्टिफिकेट ले लिया, ख़त्म हो गया। नहीं, मानविकता सीखे नहीं है, व्यवहार सीखा नहीं है, वाक शुद्धता नहीं है, आप कितने बड़े ऑफिसर बने हुए हैं, लेकिन बोलते जब है कटु लगता है सुनने में। तो इस तरह का लाइव बन जाएगा अगर आप संगीत नृत्य का माध्यम से बच्चों को नहीं भेजेंगे। तो ये हमारा विश्वास है, क्योंकि इसमें इतनी चीज़ें हैं जो कि बारीक से गुरुजी सिखाते। मैं देखा कि इतनी चीज़ें हैं कि मामी लोग आके बैठ के सीखते हैं। और ये भी इनका निर्देश था कि जब तक मामी लोग सेटिस्फाई नहीं है तब तक आप इनको डांटो, ये करो, घर में प्रैक्टिस कराओ, फिर जाके यहाँ आएँ। तो इस तरह सब अनुभव है, मुझे पता है, बट प्रोग्रेस नहीं हो रहा है, बहुत स्लो। इसका कारण है जो अभी बताएं, जो डिसिप्लिन्स है यहाँ, उसके प्रति हम ध्यान नहीं देते हैं। सिर्फ 1 घंटे के लिए आते हैं, सीखते हैं, चले जाते हैं। ये बहुत ज़रूरी है। बच्चों का माइंड से लेकर नख से सिख तक ज्ञान हो जाएगा जब संस्कृत बोल के जब भाषा में शुद्धता आ जाएगा जो। और कला संस्कृति में हमारे भारत में झुकना पड़ता है बड़े बुजुर्गों के सामने, बड़े गुणी के सामने, गुरु के सामने तो है ही। तो इस तरह का जो एक संस्कार मिलता है वो नहीं मिल पा रहा है। मैं 50 साल से देख रहा हूँ, दिल्ली में ही बच्चे सीख रहे हैं, स्कूल में, कॉलेज में पहुँच गए हैं, वहाँ फैकल्टी में जाके सीख रहे हैं, कुछ नहीं हो रहा है उनका। जब तक गुरु के पास नहीं जाएंगे तब तक नहीं होगा। साधते रहो, साधना साधना साधना, कुछ नहीं होता जब तक उसको आप उपासना के दृष्टि में ना देखें। आप अभ्यास करो, अभ्यास करो, अभ्यास करो, बट ये एक समर्पण भावना गुरु प्रति वो पहले चाहिए, फिर जाके आपका प्रोग्रेस होता है। यही मेरा थोड़ा सा ये मैं एक्सपीरियंस से बता रहा। तो आगे ये जारी रहें और सोनल जी की ऐसे ही प्रतिष्ठा हमेशा 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 के लिए झंडा उड़ते रहें, यही जगन्नाथ जी के पास मेरा निवेदन है।
मंकिम जी, आई एम ग्लैड कि ये डिजिटली ब्रॉडकास्ट हो रहा है प्रोग्राम, जिससे सारे बच्चे जो सुन रहे हैं आपको और गुरु जी को, उन्हें कुछ सीखने को मिलेगा। आई नाउ रिक्वेस्ट पंडित शुभेंद्र राव टू कम अप एंड फेलिसिटेट आवर पैनलिस्ट्स।
Can I ask Chandrakant one question? Shashwati. Sonali.
हाँ जी
मैं कुछ पूछूं उनको?
हाँ,
चंद्रकांत को?
पूछ लो कि आप भी पूछना चाहते हैं।
मैं
अच्छा, हाँ भाभी।
इतने सारी फीमेल डांसर्स के बीच में दीदी के पास आप फिलहाल, वैसे तो दीदी के पास पुरुषों ने सिखाया, आप अकेले हो, और मैंने आपके साथ बहुत सारे प्रोग्राम शेयर किए हैं, जिस तरह से आप सब लड़कियों को संभालते हुए स्टेज। व्हाट इज दैट स्पेशल फीलिंग दैट यू गेट लर्निंग फ्रॉम अ ग्रेट गुरु, दैट वो पुरुष के लिए किस तरह से अलग से आपको समझाती है, फीमेल बॉडी एंड द मेल बॉडी?
सच्ची बताऊं, जब मैं बच्चों को कोई भी उनको बोलता हूँ ऐसे रहिए या फिर आप लाइन में रहिए, या कभी भी रिहर्सल के लिए जी, जो नृत्य में हमेशा जब भी मैं बच्चों को सिखाता हूँ, गुरुजी को स्मरण में रख के सिखाता हूँ। गुरुजी होती तो कैसे सिखाते वो और मैं बच्चों से भी पूछता हूँ गुरुजी ने कैसे सिखाया था। अगर मैं भूल जाता हूँ तो गुरुजी से मैं पूछता हूँ कि बच्चों से पूछता हूँ कि गुरुजी ने तुमको कैसे सिखाया, मुझे ये बताओ। फिर जाके मैं उनको, अगर वहीं पे अगर कोई गड़बड़ करती हैं तो फिर मैं जाके उनको आगे सिखाता हूँ। बस गुरुजी को स्मरण रख के जितना भी काम हो सकता है मैं वही करता हूँ।
थैंक यू। Thank you so much, Pandit Shubhendra Rao, Bankim ji, Chandrakant ji, and Pallavi ji. We shall now proceed to the release of the brochure, which has been specially taken out for this year's Deeksha Samharoh. I request Dr. Sonal Mansingh, Dr. Sachidanand Joshi, if he's here. I believe he's in a meeting, I think. Dr. Priyanka Mishra, Director IGNCA, and Shri Ganga Kumar, Member Board of Directors CICD, to come up and do the honors for the brochure release. Yes, ma'am. Malvika ji, please. May I also invite the panelists for our next discussion, Professor Malashri Lal, Srimati Nandini Ramani, and Dr. Professor Ashish Khokar to join us on stage.
आइए कम
You're on the seat. Something.
Trustee है executive trustee of IGNCA. Please come. आप यहाँ आइए. आइए. Dr. Bharat Gupta, great professor mathematics. So, आप देखेंगे अंदर कुछ कार्टून्स भी हैं, like
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much, all of you. For our next panel discussion, we already have the panelists on stage. Professor Malashri Lal will moderate the discussion. To tell you a little about each of them, Professor Malashri और सोनल जी की दोस्ती बहुत पुरानी है. इन दोनों ने साथ मिलकर टैगोर पर काम किया है. Dancer, scholar and guru, Professor Malashri is a highly respected, eminent educationist and has been on the international jury of the Booker Prize. श्रीमती नंदिनी रमनी आधुनिक भारत के महान संस्कृतविद और भारतीय संस्कृति के विद्वान डॉक्टर वी राघवन की पुत्री हैं और विश्व प्रख्यात भारतनाट्यम नृत्यांगना श्रीमती टी बाल सरस्वती जी की शिष्या हैं. भारत में कुछ ही संस्कृत नाटक मंडलियां हैं जिनमें से एक इनकी है. शी हैज़ कम स्पेशली फ्रॉम चेन्नई टू बी विद अस हियर टुडे. प्रोफेसर आशीष मोहन खोकर फ्रॉम बैंगलोर pioneered arts administration in India and is a well-known cultural personality with solid work in the field in the last 4 decades. He is a reputed scholar, critic, author with 45 books to his credit. The number may be more, sir, I may be wrong there, but this is. Currently, he is the national culture columnist for the Hindu, 21 Cities edition. I now request Professor Malashri to take the discussion ahead. Dr. Sandhya Purecha is unable to join us today due to some unavoidable circumstances.
Namaste. Good morning. It's Namaste. It's a great honor and a privilege to be here, and it's been a most moving.
I don't think it's working.
It's been a very moving session all morning today. My deepest congratulations to Dr. Sonal Mansingh for the outstanding quality of life that she has placed before us. She has been exemplary for many of us, and I just want to recall the time when I first met her when I was a college student in Jaipur, and Sonalji had come there to give a performance. And it was, of course, a spectacular performance. But along with that, I was deeply impressed by her personality, the absolute confidence, beauty, grace, and also the reverence for Indian traditions that she put through in her performances and in the stories and narratives that she placed before her audience. After that, I married, came to Delhi, started teaching at the University of Delhi, from where I retired a few years ago. But while I was in the university and held the position of Director of Women's Studies and then as Dean, my one objective was to extend Guru Sonal Mansingh's teachings to the students of Delhi University. It was very important that it should go beyond the ambit of only the dance students or an audience in an auditorium. It was important for me to see the interaction between Sonalji and my students at DU. And Bharatji is here, so he knows what institution I'm talking about. So the two occasions I briefly will mention is the time when Sonalji came to South Campus, and in the talk that she gave, and my interest is in gender equality and gender studies and women's studies in that area. And so is Sonal's interest in promoting the idea of the equality of man and woman. And understandably, her talk moved towards talking of Ardhanarishwar and Shiva and Parvati. And I recall the time when she narrated the story of Shiva and Parvati and the churning of the ocean, and how there was great danger to the world till Parvati's intervening hand stopped the poison from spreading. And it was Shiva's throat that the poison was then lodged in. And yet, as her lecture continued, she showed that the same Shiva and Parvati, when it came to a dance competition between the two of them, and Parvati would have done better, but Shiva took a particular kind of dance pose that Parvati as a woman could not imitate. And therefore, the point is that sometimes it's a trickery that creates the hierarchies in our societies. And this was a marvelous illustration from Sonalji, how we can revisit mythology and from that learn many aspects of our culture and question those aspects and find newer interpretations. The second time that I recall was at the Viceregal Lodge of Delhi University, which is the office of the Vice Chancellor. And when I was asked, we want a wonderful speaker for a very special occasion, I said, of course, Dr. Sonal Mansingh. That was another memorable time when in the old ballroom of the Viceregal Lodge, which has become the convention center for the Vice Chancellor's office at Delhi University, Sonalji spoke and demonstrated Tagore and the Ashtanayika. When the topic first came to me, and I'm a Bengali, I said, how is this going to work? Because Tagore didn't directly write about the Ashtanayika. And we had a marvelous discussion, the two of us. It was always a joy to speak to Sonal. And then what came on the stage was outstanding innovation as to how we can bring together different strands in our country, the different languages, the different traditions, to put forward a message that among the languages there is a similarity. in the cultural nuances there is a commonality, and that we can reinterpret the traditions such as the Ashtanayika, truly Bengali lyrics of Rabindranath Tagore, which Sonalji can sing. It is absolutely mesmerizing to see the manner in which the consolidation, the coordination, and the innovation happens when she speaks to the students. So thank you, Sonal, for being a guru to many of the students of the University of Delhi and for those marvelous visits. And there is more to say. If there is time, I will do that. But for now, I will move on to our panelists. First, I will turn to Nandini Ramani-ji, who has also had a very long association with Sonalji and is a marvelous critic of dance and, of course, a great performer. I have seen you at times on the stage. So please go ahead, Nandini-ji.
सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपरम्परां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. Namaskaram to Sonalji. I feel quite nervous to speak in front of her. I think it is also celebration for our friendship. I met her first in 1962. Not personally, of course, in a performance.
How old were you?
I was 12 years. She was performing in Chennai in a hall which was then known as Kalaivanar Arangam. Unforgettable performance, Bharatanatyam. And imagine who was conducting it, Guru Dandayadapani Pillai. And the chief guest, my father.
Dr. V. Raghavan.
So he said, come, we must go to a dance performance. We went. I think maybe she did Manavi Chaikona Radha or some Tamil Varnam, I don't remember. Master conducting for a student, visiting student, is something very special in those days. Because she came in that lineage, Dandayadapani Pillai was very willing to conduct her. It was a out-of-the-world performance. Sonalji was 17, 27, 45, 17 years. 44. So 18 years. So charming. She was appearing like a, lightning on the stage. The bhavam, the rhythm, the laya aspects. Those things still remain in my mind, very fresh. My father spoke after the performance. Of course, my father was earlier associated with her grandfather, the great Sri Mangaldas Pakwasa, who was former governor and a great Sanskrit scholar. So my father said he had visited him in his governor's bungalow, where Sonalji would have lived then. So the friendship is there right from that period. And after that 1962, within 2-3 years, Sonalji came to Chennai with Guruji, Kelu Mahapatra. My father being the secretary of the Madras Music Academy, he organized a first ever lecture demonstration on Odissi. Guruji was there and Sonalji was performing. It was a landmark event. Academy audience full because something new was happening. My father was known for creating such special programs, and this one was really a wonderful occasion, which I attended fully and came to know about Odissi form, and my father used to talk about it a lot after the demonstration. I remember her even visiting us at our house then. And the journey continued, though I was not directly involved. My Guru Bala Saraswati was also there in that performance. Then Sonalji started coming to Chennai for performances. So many times in the class also she used to say, about Guruji and Sonalji. Those are all nice memories. And at one point of time in 2000, a common friend of ours reminded me, who after that he passed away also, he reminded me that Sonalji would be coming to Chennai and if I would be of associating with her. So that was the time again we revived. Maybe I think it is 2003. Then I was dance correspondent for the Hindu for many years. So I told the office, Sonalji is here, shall I make an interview? So I went to meet her at the hotel. I was also secretary Music Academy at that time. So the next year I invited Sonalji there. And the ties became stronger. I tried to understand her. She's not an easy person to understand, so many layers. But having grown with the two tough disciplinarians, Dr. Raghavan and Bala Saraswati, it's not that difficult to manage with Sonalji because she comes in the next level of next generation. Those teachers, Dr. Raghavan and Bala Saraswati, they were like Mauna Gurus. They wouldn't talk anything. They will expect so much from you, which was very difficult those days. But with Sonalji, it was easier because she is right there telling you what to do, where you are wrong. Even if it is sometimes a very sharp comment, I always took it with a very respectful feeling because she was like an older sister telling me where I... She always said, as Swati said, assert yourself. Even this morning she said, come forward, stand here. Like that, she gave that energy. And around that time in 2004-05, turbulent period was there for me at the Madras Music Academy. What happened to Sonalji here in Sangeet Natak Academy happened to me in Chennai. She was like a savior. She said, don't worry, look ahead. You are meant for a bigger platform. Come. She dragged me. With all my training and all that, I was nowhere. And my face was completely wiped off from the scene. People were trying to do that. And I couldn't take it because no father was gone. Bala was gone. Nobody was there. And Sonalji came as a big pillar of support. Sit. Why are you sitting here? Come. She dragged me to Sangeet Natak Academy, gave me a big exposure. So many things I could learn from her by observing her. The way to talk, the way to assert your views. Still, I think that sense of assertion, I still have to improve on that, I feel. So it was like a journey. She was holding me like an older sister, taking me along. I feel so emotional because in the art field, you don't find such genuine souls. Everybody says on their face so many things, but nothing happens. Or sometimes there is backstabbing. So here this grand lady who was a pioneer for training in twin systems of dance, even in those days. Bharatanatyam, she saw the standard of excellence in that. Great gurus, then Odissi, where she reigned supreme for several decades. We all know all that. And the lady of grit, we know the path she traveled, personal hurdles, unfailing spirit. Amma, I don't know how you managed that. Even during Corona, many of you, all of us watched her give talks on so many subjects, so many layers of abhinaya. Suddenly she will call, hey, can you check that text for me? I want this shloka. I want that meaning of that particular word. Any time of the day, can I disturb you? I just want this. So much. I also learnt in that process. One day she was asking something about the Vasanta Ritu and bee and all that. Luckily, I found a verse of my father in Samskrita Pratibha of the Sahitya Academy. I could immediately narrate it to her, and she was so happy. I think she even talked about it in the next episode and did some abhinaya for that. Such is her amazing personality. I'm not making it as a, narastuti. It is coming from my heart. So much of energy, so much of affection. I always think she is like a jackfruit. Outwardly, she looks very, with all those protruding things. But inside, if you open and open, there is this soft, nice, fruit portion, which gives you eternal sweetness. That I really admire you in Sonalji. And the way you have guided me. You have not been my direct guru, but the words of wisdom, the ideas, the several concepts that we discussed. Sometimes you, although you were older to me, you always asked me, you tell me, you advise. I don't know about Chennai. You had to tell me. This kind of openness. She used to suddenly look like a child at that time for me. She had a childish nature in her heart. Many may not agree with that, but I have experienced it. It happens to close friends. I'm so fortunate that she is there for me and still guiding me. And every work of hers during my writing period in the Hindu, I felt so emotional. Jara was a grand success. What a concept, what an execution, and what a solo theatre it was. Fantastic. And then Dashamahavidya, that was another very tough and very highly tantric and philosophical thing, which she could handle so very deeply and very sensitively. And the way she gave the narrations, especially in Chennai, because the Chennai audience, many of them are not aware of the aspects of her productions. So she used to give a very, very fluid, easy-flowing narration. And the Shamahavidya was also a very grand success, having staged in most platforms in Chennai. And for 17 or 18 years, Sonalji was coming and performing in all the sabhas in Chennai.
Nandini ji, I think there are so many stories we would love to hear.
But what I'm saying, to conclude, when this difficult times appeared around the 2000s time, I was amazed at the way she took her art in her hands and showed her manifestation.
She's talking about the time UPA government came in 2004.
Yeah.
And I and a few others who were appointed by NDA, Bajpayee's government, but literally thrown out.
It was sheer power play.
I was then chairman Sangeet Natak Academy, so that's what she's referring to.
I was there for no fault of hers. She was only trying to set up strict discipline. So that time the art came in hand, and then we could see the many facets of her creativity.
Indeed, there are many, many facets to Sonalji. Thank you so much for those beautiful remembrances and the tributes to Dr. Sonal Mansingh. I request now Dr. Khokar to talk about his views on Sonal Mansingh ji and his long association with Sonal Mansingh.
ओम सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणी विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धि भवतु मे सदा। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नमो नमः। कामाख्या देवी की जय और कामाख्या देवी की जय। एक शिक्षक और एक सूत्रधार को खड़े होकर कहने की आदत है, इसलिए आई यूज़ द पोडियम। इट्स ऑल्सो द माइक हैंड इज़ माइक फ्री, सो वन इज़ एबल टू कन्वे डायरेक्टली। सोनल जी के बारे में कुछ कहना मतलब सूरज को दिया दिखाना। तो आप समटाइम्स आई वंडर इफ इट्स वन पर्सन or 10 avatar in one person. Having known her for 40 years on stage and off stage for almost 50, she represents to me 5 points. I have 7 minutes. I know the chair is very strict. I would use it efficiently to convey 5 points for those of us who are interested in history, contextualization, and where art forms have developed. First things first, as Sonal ji herself said, don't look at her state and station in life now. Please go back to 1940s and 50s when dance was only for hereditary families mostly. There were very few metro, and metro was only Bombay. Delhi was a village in 1950s. Please understand, we may feel very modern now, but until the 80s, Delhi was a village. पालम गांव पे गायें आती थीं, आपको रिसीव करने गायें वहीं खड़ी होती थी। तो आप सोचिए कि 50s में एक मेट्रो इंडिया से एक पढ़ी लिखी डायनेमिक, जिसको सब पॉसिबिलिटी थी लाइफ में, साइंस, कॉमर्स, आर्ट्स, takes to this forum of classical dance. That itself is a cause for celebration, because for that she left her home, the comfort of home, go to find a guru, first in Jayalakshmi Alvaji in Bombay itself. I'm so happy to see her photo there in the exhibition.
Later, when Guruji, Krishna Rao sir said you can practice with her in Bombay. Yeah.
तो बैंगलोर आई यूएस कृष्ण राव जी के, एंड गवर्नर की पोती गवर्नर के महल राजभवन में रह रही हैं, लेकिन द स्ट्रिक्ट गुरु सेड she'll have to come home to learn, and she went to learn every time. Till the end, I saw in Guru Purnima, I was sitting with him 1 year before he passed away. A money order came from Sonal ji. I was sitting with him, I was documenting him, and the money order said, for Guru Purnima, मेरा प्रणाम। 50 साल बाद भी सोनल जी उनको मनी ऑर्डर से उस टाइम गुरु दक्षिणा भेज रही थी। बड़ी बात है, आजकल अगले दिन गुरुओं को याद नहीं रखते। सो ही रिमेंबर्ड दैट वेरी अफेक्शनेटली। जी तालियां बजाइए, खुले दिल से ताली बजाइए। सो यू सी, गुरु शिष्य परंपरा बड़ी विडंबना की बात नहीं है। अगर आपको लगन है तो आप करेंगे, अगर लगन नहीं है, जैसे सोनल जी ने शुरुआत में कहा, तो प्लीज़ डू समथिंग एल्स। Have you heard of half dentist and half pilot? No. Sorry, भरत जी, मैं आपके दुख की दाढ़ पे हाथ रख रहा हूँ. He's just recovering from a dental implant. But you can't be half surgeon, half doctor, half lawyer, or half anything. Then why do young people think they can be half dancer or quarter musicians? I have not understood this in modern India today, that dance is not a hobby. It is a way of life. पैशन भी खत्म हो जाएगा, लेकिन डांस एंड आर्ट विल नेवर एंड, यू नो, इट इज़ फॉर एवर। सो आपको इसमें जहाँ सरस्वती आएगी, लक्ष्मी अपने आप आती है, थोड़ी टाइम लगा के आती है, लेकिन आती ज़रूर है, बट सरस्वती की कृपा हमेशा रह जाती है। इतने गुणी लोग हैं इस सभा में, इतने गुणवान, यशवान, धनवान, शायद एक दो शैतान भी हों, तो मैं छोटी सी संतान पहले से ही माफ़ी चाहता हूँ, क्योंकि छोटी सी मेरा जन्मदिन 4 साल में एक बार आता है। तो मैं इस सभा में सबसे अनुज हूँ, 15.5 वर्षीय, बड़ौदा बॉर्न जी। तो सोनल जी की अभी चर्चा हुई, नंदनी अक्का ऑल्सो सेड, नान तमिल पेसाद ये एल्लार हिंदी इंग्लिश लेंगे पेसरें। 2 स्टाइल मेंटेन करना इजी नहीं है, वो भी बेंचमार्क के साथ। सीखने को आप 5 भी सीख लीजिए, लेकिन 2 स्टाइल में आपको, क्योंकि एक बार आपके अंग में भरतनाट्यम बैठ जाता है, फिर कथक बहुत सिंपल लगता है। कथक अगर सिंपल आप शुरुआत करें तो उसमें अली जोड़ के कथक अली नहीं कर सकते। तो आपको 2 फॉर्म एक शरीर में बैठना और दोनों को बड़े ईमानदारी से निभाना, और उसमें इस मकाम पे पहुंचना ताकि आपको लगे कि पूरी विश्व आपकी कला के प्रेमी हो, ये बहुत बड़ी अचीवमेंट है, कोई छोटी अचीवमेंट नहीं है। तालियां प्लीज जी। देखिए अभी भारत आज़ाद है, अच्छे दिन आए हैं, दिल से ताली बजाइए, आप बिल्कुल संकोच करके ताली ना बजाएं। एस फॉर सोनल जी, बट आई विल ऐड एस फॉर स्पंक, substance, sharpness, scholarship. Please don't mess with her over dates in history. She has elephantine memory. आप कुछ कोट करेंगे ना 1944 से तो कहेंगी नहीं ये 1943 and a half में हुआ था। She remembers it because she's an academic mind. See, dancer doesn't mean just being on stage. That is the end product of the craft and the skill you have acquired over decades. तालिया? But dancer means a complete artist. अभी बंकिम दान ने कहा कि आप सिर्फ म्यूजिक नहीं सीख रहे, आप गुरु को कैसे प्रणाम करते हैं, गुरु के सामने कितना झुकते हैं, गुरु को गुरु मानते हैं कि नहीं, यही बड़ी बात है। सो डांसर इज, व्हेन शी इज एकेडमिक, शी नोज दिस स्टफ, शी नोज हिस्ट्री ऑफ ओडिसी और फोक फॉर्म्स, इवन फिल्म्स। लेट्स नॉट बी जजमेंटल, नो आर्ट फॉर्म इज बैड, इट इज एन आर्ट फॉर्म, इट इज सरस्वती's कृपा। So when we think of scholarship, when you think of quotes, when you think of substance, spunk, let's all agree it's been a man's world. नारी शक्ति तो इन लोगों के कारण उज्जवल हुई है। कामाख्या देवी यहाँ बैठी हैं, it's in a man's world. You have fought babudom, you have fought kingdoms, you have fought politiciandom.
All dum-dum.
All dum-dums. So it is not easy to maintain as a woman your own Shakti and rights and meet the world on your own terms. That itself is role modeling. पद्म विभूषण इनको मिला होगा कला के लिए, लेकिन और पद्म विभूषण भी मिल सकते हैं for other aspects of life, because you have created a space for other women as a role model to take this many concerns of society forward. Now, what do we mean by institutions? Is it a building? Is it staff? Is it people? Individuals are institutions. Such individuals don't need to create institution. ये इन्होंने बनाई, जो उनके साथ बैठी है स्वाति भिड़े। मैं हमेशा आपको भिड़े के नाम से ही जानता था, भिसे। When I said, oh, the D has become S, Swati Gupte. So I said, I asked Nalla Najan uncle in New York, I said, there was a Swati who was such a good dancer in India, and now she's settled in New York. So I remember him speaking very fondly about the critic of New York, Nalla Najan ji, always spoke very highly of Swati. So your art had gone and made home in faraway New York, in the days when New Yorkers really didn't know much about India or Indian dance. It is thanks to artists like you who took it and प्रचार किया। तो अब भारत, if it is shining everywhere in dance world or music or arts, this is actually our best calling card. It is not steel or it is not other symbols. It is the arts. This is our best branding. योग कहिए, कला कहिए, संस्कृत कहिए, योग, जितनी भी चीज़ें हैं प्राचीन हमारी, जो चली आ रही हैं, प्राचीन तब थी, इन्होंने टिकाया, इसलिए अब तक बच गई। In 75 years of our existence, there's only one lone dancer in the parliament nominated. The first and maybe the last, क्योंकि डांस को इतनी इंपॉर्टेंस दी गई because of totality of culture. रुक्नी देवी जी भी गई थी पार्लियामेंट, but she went for animal rights and vegetarianism. Under another, they are both 29th February born, Morarji Desai ji and Rukmini Devi ji. So I always think of them when the birthdays come. But they were nominated not for dance alone. Sonal ji is the alone person for her dance and for her art and for complete package in terms of culture. Culture is a very big word. Actually, it's an English word and हमारी परिभाषा में यही प्रॉब्लम आ रही है कि कल्चर को हम क्या कहें, संस्कृति, या एक बार आपने चर्चा की थी 20 साल पहले, एंड यू सेड कि इसका हिंदी वर्ड हम क्या यूज़ करें, तो मैंने कहा कृष्टि, क्योंकि दृष्टि नहीं है, सृष्टि नहीं है, कृष्टि। तो वी हैड दिस डिस्कशन। सी, सोनल जी इज़ अ थिंकिंग माइंड, वी यूज़ दीज वर्ड्स वेरी लूजली, थिंकिंग डांसर। मैंने कहा क्या बाकी नहीं सोचते, बट थिंकिंग डांसर मीन्स यू थिंकिंग ऑफ इट ऑल द टाइम। आप कहीं पे भी हो, ट्रेन में हो, प्लेन में हो, यहाँ हो, कहीं हो, आपके मन में टेक अप ऑन आइडिया, स्वामी विवेकानंद जी सेड, make that idea your life. Think of it, dream of it, live on it. Let the brain, muscles, nerves, every part of that body be full of that idea. she is a living example that she has taken these art forms forward. I have learned last minute to conclude. I know you're smiling very sweetly at me. So I would conclude. I think I'm standing out of habit, but we need to give her a standing ovation. Please do. That will also help your muscles. Standing ovation for Sonal ji. Pranam.
थैंक यू, थैंक यू, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद, आभार, भगवती का आशीर्वाद बना रहे. थैंक यू आशीष, थैंक यू.
Thank you, Nandini ji and Ashish ji. And that was a befitting tribute to Dr. Sonal Mansingh. The standing ovation is very well deserved indeed. Thank you for being a guru to all of us, Sonal ji, and for teaching us so many aspects of life and giving us the leadership to think afresh, think anew, think in new ways all the time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, all of you.
Rumu, you forgot to mention my lecture on Tagore, Ashtanayika, for his Anand's Institute and IGNOU recently. And you know, the attitude was, अच्छा इनको बुलाया है, अच्छा वो dance पे बोलेंगी. And then they were so disappointed that I did not speak on dance alone.
They were absolutely enthralled. I heard from my colleagues at IGNOU what a brilliant lecture it was. But I like to remember that the first of the Tagore series, and Ashtanayika, was at DU.
Absolutely.
But there is much more to Sonal ji, but I really respect you in many, many ways, but also deeply because you're making us think in a contemporary way about our older mythologies. I'm deeply grateful personally for the work that you've done for our books on Sita and Radha. And these are just examples of how we can learn, as he said, to be intelligently interpreting the past for the present. Thank you. Thank you very
How
much.
lovely. I request Mrs. Swati Bhise to come up.
Professor Parul Shah.
I request Professor Parul Shah to please felicitate the panel.
She was Dean of Arts, MS University, Baroda, and herself Bharatanatyam, Kalakshetra style. In fact, her guru, Srimati Anjali Maid, was the first student of Rukmini Devi.
Oh, wow.
And she has her own school, and she's a scholar, and she's Fulbright scholar, and God knows what else. But she's lovely. But she's lovely, I said. In spite of all, terribly lovely. Parul Ben Apo, Mala, Rumini. मेरी स्टूडेंट्स कोई क्लैप नहीं कर रही अभी की जो बच्चियां हैं उनकी मम्मियां हैं.
The conversations have been so inspiring and actually literally goosebumpy. You spoke very well.
Thank you. Saraswati's gift, not my credit.
Thank you, Nandini. Go forward. I especially wanted Durga. हाँ. ये बैठी माँ कामाख्या जी आशीष को. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, all of you. Thank you.
It's a
Dr.
pleasure
Parul.
for me to sit and listen.
You must be going through a range of emotions, ma'am. आपके emotions अभी बिल्कुल, you must be going through a range of them. Listening to all of them talking about the past. And
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen, our last panel discussion of the morning, before we ask the audience to join us in an interaction, is one with Shri Arjun Puri as the moderator and Dr. Kumud Diwan, Vidushi Saskia Rao Dahas, Pandit Shubhendra Rao, and Dr. Anand Kumar participating. We request them all to come up on stage. श्री अर्जुन पुरी औरविल से आए हैं और गुरु जी के पुराने मित्र हैं। कला, संस्कृति और भारतीयता के क्षेत्र में ये एक अत्यंत जानकार व्यक्ति हैं। डॉक्टर कुमुद दीवान, a disciple of Padma Bhushan Pandit Channulal Mishra of Banaras, is a renowned exponent of the Thumri genre of Hindustani classical music. Vidushi Saskia Rao Dehas and Pandit Shubhendra Rao are a very unique and lovable classical music couple. A composer and sitar player, Pandit Shubhendra, has studied under the sitar maestro.
Arjun, you will be moderator, so you are in the center. Okay. Ayo Krishna. अब ये क्या है, दो पुरुष यहाँ, दो स्त्रियाँ वहाँ. No, you don't go next to her.
My pleasure.
That's better. That's better.
Pandit Shubhendra has studied under the sitar maestro Pandit Ravi Shankar and is ranked amongst the top soloists of India. Saskia, a disciple of leading flute maestro Hari Prasad Chaurasia, is hailed as a pioneer in the world of music for creating and introducing the Indian cello. Dr. Professor Anand Kumar, a good friend of Guruji, has been the HOD of reproductive biology at AIIMS Delhi. He writes excellent poetry, has had his books published, and paints as well. He is currently a senior fellow at the Indian Institute of Advanced Studies, Shimla. I now hand over the mic to Shri Arjun Puri.
So, good afternoon, good morning, everybody. And this is really an honor and great pleasure to actually moderate this talk, which will talk about one of the most wonderful, she's making a face, one of the most wonderful human beings that we have had the pleasure to meet. Coincidentally, she happens to be one of the greatest dancers. And by dancers, I do agree with everybody who said it's way more than just what media and others term it to be. She assimilates almost every facet of life in her. And her ability to create forms which have an inner perspective as well as the outer, the way she manages to do that, very, very few people have managed to do that, actually. And that is one of the most remarkable things, and people talk about innovation, people talk about doing new things. What does new mean? There is a spirit to everything that we do in our country. And if you do not align yourself with that spirit, you will be part of the pleasant brigade. So, that certainly she's not. She makes you think. She makes you churn inside you to find what are we all aiming for? What are we all looking for? And if it is not the inner dimension which should play out in the outer life, then what is? And that is the gift of this country to the world. And that's why this knowledge has survived millennia and continues to inspire. And I hope it inspires more young Indians, because we certainly need that, especially the way the world is today. So how do we keep this wave upon the sand? How do we capture what Sonal ji has given to all of us. And with this, I open the discussion to Kumunji.
Thank you, Anandji. या देवी सर्वभूतेषु मातृरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः। माँ कामाख्या को प्रणाम करते हुए, सोनल दीदी को नमन करते हुए, जो आज की उत्सव मूर्ति हैं, I had thought that I will speak about what I'm about to tell you at the end, but she flips every argument in your mind and she trains you and she inspires you to always flip the argument that is going in your mind for that perfect and the differential creativity. So Didi, I salute you for that zigzag mind. That is the title of her new book. It's a zigzag mind, and the symbol is the alphabet Z or Z. उस Z हमें बोला जाता है, बचपन से बताया जाता है, काम करो, परफेक्ट करो, लकीर लंबी खींचो, लकीर लंबी खींचो। अरे लकीर किस पर लंबी खींचो? उस Z पर लंबी खींचो। कहाँ से शुरू करो, कहाँ ख़त्म करो? यहाँ से नहीं खींच सकते, वहाँ से नहीं खींच सकते, वहाँ से Z बिगड़ जाएगा, उसका Z ही बिगड़ जाएगा। तो ये ऐसा जिगजैग माइंड है जिस पर आप लंबी लकीर तो खींच ही नहीं सकते। आप करते रहिए तैयारी। That is the beauty of that mind. The Z alphabet signifies the zeal. It is Zani also, to quite an extent, the creativity, because she continues to reinvent herself by the nanosecond, and that is the epitome of her body of work. So I salute you for that zigzag mind, Didi. People would say, बहुत चेकर्ड रहा, क्यों? क्योंकि भरतनाट्यम सीखा, क्योंकि उन्होंने ओडिसी पर इतना आधिपत्य पाया, छव मयूरभंज जैसे उन्होंने विधाओं पर इतना उनका कमांड है। इतनी सारी नृत्य की विधाएं एक ही आप नहीं साध सकते। उस साधिका ने इतनी सारी साधी और सब में वो ट्रांसेंड करती रही, सेरेनेट करती रही। तो आपने कह दिया चेकर्ड है। क्या चेकर्ड है भाई? चेक्स पर तो आप वर्टिकल हॉरिजॉन्टल लाइन लंबी खींच सकते हो। आ जाओ इस जी पे, इस जिगजैग माइंड पर, और कोशिश करो। और आप कोशिश करेंगे भी तो वो अपनी सबसे बड़ी प्रतिद्वंदी स्वयं है। इस बात का मुझे एहसास हुआ जब मैंने उनके काम को देखा, उनसे वार्तालाप किया कई बार। यू कैन नॉट इवन बिगिन टू फैथम द एब्सोल्यूट ऑब्सेशन. It's an obsessive strain that she does not let up. It's a continuum on which she delivers. और इतना ज़्यादा उनकी अपने आप, she is her best competitor and her worst critic. And unless and until we reach that stream of consciousness as an artist, your story doesn't begin really. काम को देखा मैंने, इतनी सारे काम की बॉडी ऑफ वर्क आप बहुत शुरुआत का तो नहीं देखा, वीडियोस देखते हैं, अभी जो उनको लाइव देखते हैं, मुझे लगता है कि नवाचार की जो एक पूरा एक आप किताब लिख सकते हैं, कितना नवाचार उनके काम में है। नित्यता है, निरंतरता है, नवाचार है, एंड दैट डिफाइंस हर वर्क, दैट डिफाइंस द वे शी पोजिशंस हर वर्क टू यू। आ जाओ, कुछ नया मिलेगा, और नया मिलता है, इतना कुछ नया मिलता है। She is not just a dance guru or a dancer par excellence. She is a great musician. She is a living legend today because she combines a symbiotic, her dance reverberations and her music sensitivities. And you have to be a musician like me to understand how well she is entrenched in that Indian classical music, or any type of music or any genre of music for that matter. कितना उन्होंने घोट कर उस संगीत को पिया हुआ है। ताल में वो इतनी परफेक्ट है, आप पखावज मृदंगम जो मर्जी लेकर तबला आइए और बैठ जाइए उनके साथ। और रागों की इतनी अच्छी पकड़ है उनके, संगीत का इतना, और क्या कंठ है उनका। एंड शी, एज आई सेड, दैट बिकॉज शी कंटिन्यूज टू री इन्वेंट हर सेल्फ, जो नृत्य की विधाएं जिस तरह से उसकी परिकल्पना हुई और जिस तरह से वो नाचती रहीं सभी विधाओं को, एट सम पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम शी सेड नहीं, मुझे वांग्मय पर, शास्त्र पर, अपनी प्राचीन माइथोलॉजी पर जितना ज्ञान मैंने अपने गुरुओं से बटोरा, सभी विधाओं से, उस सब का एमैल्गेमेशन करके कथा कहनी है. एंड दैट कथा इज़ द सोनल जॉनर ऑफ कथा. भारतवर्ष में बहुत अनंत कथाएं हैं, कथाओं का देश है, बट हर कथाज आर डिफरेंट. द अप्रोच, द रोड मैप इज़ कम्प्लीटली नॉवल. और हर बार जब वो कथा करती हैं, उनकी कई कथाएं मैंने 6-7 बार देखने का सौभाग्य हुआ, उसका रोड मैप वो बदल देती हैं, क्योंकि कुछ रिटन द रोड मेमोरी से नहीं आ रहा है. इतना प्रवाह है, इतना संचरण उसमें, वो बिल्कुल उसमें वो रम चुकी हैं और वो उनमें रमता जाता है. और जितना ही वो मांगती हैं अपनी विधाओं से, विधाएं उनको उतना ही देती जाती हैं. ये बिल्कुल मेरा रोम रोम आज आह्लादित होता है उनको देख कर. शी इज़ अ ग्रेट सोर्स ऑफ इंस्पिरेशन फॉर मी. आई एम नॉट अ डांसर, शी इज़ नॉट माई नृत्य गुरु, शी इज़ माई लाइफ गुरु एंड शी इज़ अ मेंटर टू मी. एंड हमेशा मेरे गुरुओं में उनका नाम सर्वोपरि रहेगा, क्योंकि कला, जीवन को जीने की कला जो मैंने देखी है. शी इज़ अ 360-degree artist, if I may say so. There are so many facets to that diamond, because you always look for the facets that shine. There are so many facets which are uncut, and you have to appreciate the beauty of that prism when you see her up close and personal. And क्या कह सकते हैं, उनका जो लालित्य है, उनकी जो गरिमा है, उनका जो एक्सप्रेशन है, उनका जो स्नेहिल मातृ शक्ति का स्वभाव है, उनकी जो प्यारी सी मीठी सी डांट है, एक कंधे पर उनका ऐसे कर देना है, वो दीदी वो हमें चलाता है. वो बना रहे, माँ भगवती की कृपा आप पर बनी रहे. आपके लिए बहुत ही दीर्घायु और अच्छा स्वास्थ्य हम चाहते हैं, क्योंकि आपका वरदहस्त बना रहेगा तो कला जगत सांस लेती रहेगी, नहीं तो ये सांसें रुक जाएंगी. तो उनके ऊपर तो आप एड नॉजियम बोल सकते हैं, इतना कुछ बोलने को है. नृत्य पर ना भी बोलें, उन पर बोल सकते हैं, बट समय की सीमा है. मैं अंत में यही कहना चाहूँगी, न भूतो न भविष्यति, उन्हीं के लिए ये लाइन लिखा गया है. ऐसा कोई 360 डिग्री की मैं नृत्य नहीं कहती, मैं संगीत नहीं कहती. वो उसको कहने से आप उनकी पर्सनालिटी को लिमिट कर देते हैं, क्योंकि वो किसी भी सीमा रेखा के पार है. वो बिल्कुल कंप्लीटली बेकाबू भी है, वो बिल्कुल बंधा हुआ नहीं है, वो एकदम बेलगाम है. क्योंकि वो बेलगाम नहीं होगा तो उस लेवल पर परिकल्पना के प्रपात नहीं झरेंगे. एंड व्हाट अ ब्यूटिफुल जिग जैग माइंड. गॉड ब्लेस यू.
Thank you. Thank you. Saskia ji.
Thank you. I don't know if it's my turn, but I'll say just a few small things.
We are celebrating women as...
Absolutely, and that is well, I think we're celebrating humanity through you and your examples. Shubhendra and I had the great honor and pleasure to compose for your dance narrative, complete theater. I've seen everyone struggling for the words to describe, but with all humility, just a dancer, I think in your terms, means something very different than from everyone else. It means going for a story and telling the full narrative, understanding the philosophy, the costumes, the design, everything, and that completeness with the music, dance, narrative, the story as the central point, the message. So that's maybe why there are so many facets to you, because each story changes whom we see. And to me, that is the true artist, the true meaning of art. And working with you on those stories showed indeed that the story is central in any form of art. It also showed that we don't need to compartmentalize. Like, yeah, it's always the easy kick to the West, but let me take it. The conservatory system. I am studying music history. I am studying vocal training. I'm studying my main subject. It doesn't work like that. And to have all that combined in one person as an institute, but thank God not an institute, because it's a person. It's a dancer in the truest sense of the word, the modern Natya Shastra perhaps, with all the facets, the dance, the narrative, the stage, the ritual aspect of the dance, everything we could always learn. So thank you for showing that and showing that to the entire world. All the sessions where, yeah, I carry it with me as an educative experience, as a spiritual experience, as an experience to find myself as an artist as well. So many aspects, and gratitude is a big understatement. Thank you, Sonalji.
Thank you so much, Saskia. That was very beautiful. Anand?
आदरणीय सोनल जी, या आपको बहुत बहुत इस पर्व की बधाई, और इंदिरा गांधी नेशनल सेंटर ऑफ आर्ट्स को इस पर्व की बहुत बहुत बधाई। और जो मैं कहना चाहता था वो सब लोग कह चुके, तो इसलिए मेरे लिए बहुत कम रह जाता है कहने को। जैसे कि डॉक्टर भीसे ने कहा कि शी मेक्स अ कंप्लीट एंड अ परफेक्ट human being out of you. It is not only music, but through music, through, by training you in music, she makes you yourself. You realize what you are, and your all faculties develop. And, from cinema to, doing house chores, etc., you can do everything. And I don't know her for a very long time, I think only for 1,000 years. And well, I think maybe from some other words. So I will speak about other aspects. Well, as an earlier speaker said, I am a half physician and a half literature. And now after retiring from medicine, I work on JIC as a national fellow in Indian Institute of Advanced Studies, Shimla. And I see one more guest here whom I met earlier. तो दो एस्पेक्ट्स सोनल जी के जो मैं आपको बताना चाहता हूं, दे आर, वन थिंग इज परफेक्शन। परफेक्शन बिना ऑब्सेशन के नहीं होता है। परफेक्शन टू द लेवल ऑफ योगा कर्मसु कौशलम। So you know that she has used dance as a form of yoga, which very many people may not know, but I must share with you that, with that single-minded devotion, which is, that kind of concentration for, you do yoga. And from other activities also, because Sri Aurobindo says all life is yoga. So whatever you do, if you are so pinpointed, it turns into yoga. So I consider as a vibhuti. And there another aspect of her life is mysticism. She is a mystic, which by very past associations, I know that she is a great mystic, and she is not a very worldly being, although she moves in the world as one of us. और अब मैं इसको अपना एड्रेस समाप्त करता हूं एक अन्योक्ति के साथ। वो अन्योक्ति है, आप उसको प्रॉपरली अप्लाई कर लीजिएगा। अभी मैं कुछ दिन पहले आनंद कुमार स्वामी का डांस ऑफ शिवा पढ़ रहा था और उसमें उन्होंने डिस्क्राइब किया कि भारत के नाट्य शास्त्र में कलाकार क्या होता है और रसवंत क्या होता है और रसिक क्या होता है। ये अन्योक्ति आपको मैं डिस्क्राइब कर रहा हूं कि जब कोई भी कलाकार, डांसर और ए स्कल्प्टर जब वो कोई भी नई रचना करता है, सो बिफोर ही बिगिंस he of course observes all the outer forms, all the history and the way it is done, all the images which are presented to him or her, and thereafter in the artist, not only the outer form, then he meditates to get the inner form of that from some archetypal word, some word of idea or forms. That figure appears in her heart. Heart is the space where the outer and inner meet. There he experiences, like suppose he is going to sculpt Vishnu, he will see, he has seen outer Vishnus, many idols, but that idol will be created in her heart, and there she will observe, and not only that, she has to retain that image for so long till the final product is manufactured. And then, like an artist, Rasika is also born. Rasik, it's not everyone cannot be Rasik. He will just gauge a production or an artifact by his sensuousness, by his five senses. A true Rasik, not only, through his mind and senses, he also goes into the same inspiration by, retracing the steps from the manufactured product. He steps back and goes to various steps and reaches the inspiration of the artist. And then he enjoys the same kind of mystic pleasure, the mystic beauty, which is, very abstract and behind all the 9 rasas. He goes behind all the 9 rasas and experiences the same delight, same bliss with which artist has created. Well, the Rasik may not experience exactly that, some part of it. And with this anyokti means it is being said for the person in question, the person who is sitting with us, and it completely applies on her, because I had some opportunity of interacting and observing her. So, these 2 points I would say, she is a yogini and she is a mystic. Thank you very much.
My namaskar and pranam to Sonal ji. I wish I was the first speaker because everything that I had thought of saying has already been said. Especially Swati ji, आपने तो पूरा मेरा जो भी सोचा था आपने because whatever you said about the guru, whatever you said about what you learned from your guru, I have been very blessed to have learned that under my guru, पंडित रविशंकर जी, उनके साथ रहते हुए, उनके साथ spending all my life with him right from my childhood, I can only say I was blessed, and I continue to learn from him even now, even when he's physically not in this world. Every step of my life that I am taking is something that I have learned from him. Why I bring this is, the only other person I can compare, the only other person who I think has all those qualities, and I feel blessed to be associated with Sonal ji. Like Saskia said, composing, not really composing. We came up with something, she would lead us. We took our instruments to her house, played, then she would lead us again. And एक गुरु से तो we learn, जैसे मैंने सितार सीखा, जैसे मैंने music सीखा, but actually the more important thing I learned is life itself, and यही चीज़ I learn when I'm with Sonal जी. तो directly तो मैं कभी शायद शिष्य नहीं बना हूँ ऐसे, but I always carry that same feeling in my heart towards her, क्योंकि she has shaped me a lot in the last 10-12 years of being close to her in ways that are perhaps not even mentioned. I mean, I can't even express how much. एक तो सीखना है, एक दूसरा है sharing. We share so much. Literally sometimes on a daily basis, WhatsApp messages. कभी about our dog, छोटा सा Zizu. That complete, she's an ocean. And what can we take out of an ocean? So every time I literally रोज कहीं ना कहीं हमारे घर में उनकी बात ज़रूर होता है. Somewhere she comes in during our talks, almost every day. And that feeling, that feeling of also being supported, the feeling also of being safe is something she has given us. And so, सीखने के लिए तो कोई अंत नहीं है. And I can only say that उनकी जो एक personality है, I mean, everybody has already expressed that she's just not a dancer, she's just not an artist, she's just not everything that, what we see, but a complete human being with, and an artist in the real sense of the word, living her art, living her passion for everything that. So my recent question to her in one of my WhatsApp message exchange was, has there been any dancer that has been awarded the Bharat Ratna? And she said no. I think in 2023 or very soon, I think we should have that corrected, because the word living legend is sometimes is misused very frequently. Agar koi hai, to we are amidst one of them for sure. And Sonal ji, nothing more to say, but just keep your blessings on us. Thank you.
So I'd just like to conclude and to say that Shubhendra ji took the words out of my mouth. I was going to conclude with this, that she really is a true Bharat Ratna of India. And as Kokharji said, we should really stand up and give her a standing ovation for that.
The biggest Rasika of our time, and Nina Prasad from Trivandrum, the Mohiniyattam, and Banashri, Kuchipudi, my friend. Everybody, Helen G is there from Sangeet Natak, and Ashish, you excelled even your father. And so many are here. Thank you so much. I think it's your affection and your blessings and your shubhkamna that will sustain me for whatever years are left to me. And many years, dance gir jaye, baal gir jaye. both share a wicked sense of humor. Yes, a wicked sense of humor which you know. And
Yes.
She has already said that.
some of you have been victims of my sense of humor. क्योंकि मैं हमेशा कहती हूँ कि डांसर होना इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि प्रिटी 24 घंटे you're dancing. You are a human being and you must loosen yourself, you must laugh, you must eat and drink, and कविता हैं कर रही है. Her father was Hare Krishna Behra ji and so many others. So मैं हमेशा कहती हूँ artist is not showing off that you are an artist. Artist है दिखेगा, लेकिन मज़े लो, ज़िंदगी जियो. And for Shubhendra and Saskia, I have one more thing to say. You didn't say that you made music, composed music for When the Gods Meet. But before that, Kali and Krishna. And 6 times you people were lugging your sitar and your cellos used to come. And one thing I said was, your music should tell the story. Music should tell the story. Then it sits with the dance choreography. But music कुछ वही है और आप dance कर रहे हो, नहीं चलता है. And they really have come up with such absolute superb music. अच्छा बहुत टाइम से नहीं किया, अभी करना पड़ेगा. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Ma'am, before I invite you to felicitate the panelists, एक कबीर जी का दोहा याद आ रहा है, आपकी अनुमति हो तो.
जी.
Listening to all the conversations that went on, कबीर जी ने कहा था, सब धरती कागज करूं, लिखनी सब बन राय, 7 समुद्र की मसी करूं, गुरु गुण लिखा न जाए. अर्थात सारी पृथ्वी को कागज, संपूर्ण जंगल को कलम, 7 समुद्र को स्याही बनाकर लिखने पर भी गुरु के गुण नहीं लिखे जा सकते. और यही हमें आज पता चला है.
सबकी रक्षा करें और हमारी संस्कृति को बचाए रखें. So
I invite you, ma'am, to right. I invite you.
I just want to say one thing about Sonal ji. She's lived life on her terms, and that is the greatest thing for the next generation, for Nari. What is a woman? Live life on her terms. And she taught me one thing. You don't have to like me, respect me. So I tell everyone, you don't need to like me. I like me. That's good enough. So I've learned all this from her. Don't need to like me. And if you can't handle my radiance, my Surya presence, it was always, then move over. So the dosh is never around जो उनमें है, आप अगर handle नहीं कर सकते तो थोड़े side को हो जाइए.
Wow.
She is like that. It is a powerful presence.
Swati ji, please.
Yeah, I say that. If you don't like me, that's your problem, not mine. You know, I'm feeling a bit like Hanuman ji. I never knew I was so great. I'm not. I'm just laughing. The best joke is on oneself. Absolutely. हाँ, ते घेऊन जाते. Okay, आप.
Ladies and वो 2 mementos, 2 felicitations अभी बच्चे.
नहीं, but you can talk about it.
The august presence in the house today is literally goosebumpy. After such inspiring and intelligent sessions with these extremely eminent and talented personalities, we will now throw the house open to our audience. I will invite Sonal. Ma'am, वहीं पे रह सकती हैं आप, है ना?
मैं ये सोच रही हूँ, if you कि अब समय हो रहा है, तो इंटरेक्शन तो क्या करना है, आप सब जानते ही हो, सुन चुके हैं। तो कुछ थोड़े वीडियो क्लिप्स हैं पुराने 10 मिनट के। आई वुड लाइक
All right, we'll move.
है
Okay.
ना नाजिया, है ना बेटर?
So we will now witness some rare. Thank you, sirs and ma'am.
थैंक यू सो मच।
We will now witness some rare video clips from Dr. Sonal
छोटे
Mansingh's
छोटे एंड कल भी
life,
अलग से छोटे छोटे
dance performances and her numerous interviews. These will definitely leave you craving for more, but the craving will not remain unappeased as we'll be back tomorrow morning with some more rare footage from Guruji's life. Also be sure to join us today in the evening for some heartwarming and exceptional performances by Dr. Sonal Mansingh and her disciples at 6 p.m. In the amphitheatre.
थैंक यू माँ, थैंक यू सो मच। चलियानी होना चाहिए था। एनीवे चलियानी। दिस पदम आई लर्न फ्रॉम गौरी अम्मा नीलांबरी, एंड it's just rarely, I think I saw Bala Saraswati do that, but afterwards I haven't seen. Nandini is here? I think she's gone to the airport, yeah. एक और है शायद, एक और है नाजिया? Yeah, one Bharatanatyam on Odissi, I thought. I haven't seen anyone do this padam. The same story. He came, he did everything and went away. I don't know who.
नदी जाई जाना सिंधु संग
बंकिम जी। प्रॉब्लम रहता है। I want to say one thing कि बंकिम जी का ये लावण्यवती वेरी फेमस पोएम और ये फोर्थ पार्ट है द न्यूली मैरिड वुमन। अनफॉर्चुनेटली आप आई डोंट नो इफ यू मस्ट हैव नोटिस्ड कि ये मिसमैच है रिदम एंड डांस में जहाँ जहाँ प्योर डांस आता है दैट इज़ ओरिजिनली फ्रॉम द दूरदर्शन सो इट इज़ नॉट मी और बंकिम जी we can't do anything about it.
We did recognize the set from, yeah.
Haji, the delays were there. Acha, the last is, I think, a very hilarious interview with Karan Thapar. Karan Thapar the Great.
Her name is often spoken of in reverence, but it's also been the source of social gossip. She's one of India's foremost dancers, but getting to the top hasn't been easy. She's faced a lot of adversity, but she's never let it get her down. How does she do it? Judge for yourself as you meet Sonal Mansingh. Welcome to the program, Sonal.
Hello, Karen. Thank you.
Sonal, they say that what Sonal wants, Sonal always gets. She never takes no for an answer. Is that an exaggeration, or is that in fact the secret of your success?
My name is Sonal, which means golden. To become gold, you have to go through fire. So I have gone through a lot of tests and obstacles, but then I get what I want, because what I want is always wonderful.
And it's like preordained because of your name.
Right.
Now, in fact, you come from a very illustrious family, and I gather that your grandfather was a very important person. Tell me about him.
My grandfather was a lawyer who studied under gas lamps in Bombay, and then he was practicing with Bhulabhai Desai and Muhammad Ali Jinnah before he decided to join the freedom movement and donated all the property to Mahatma Gandhi, became one of his closest associates and a great friend of Sardar Patel.
And went on to become, I believe, Mr. Mangaldas Bakwasa, which was his name, one of the first 5 governors of independent India.
1947, at the stroke of midnight, 15th August, sorry. And I remember we were all carried on elephant. I was a small girl in Nagpur. Nagpur was the capital of central provinces and Berar. Nizam's, when Berar was joined to central provinces, making it the largest chunk of territory in India. And there we were. And although by then he had resigned from Congress, he didn't agree with some of Nehru's policies, and he had resigned even from that 4-Ana membership. So he was a personal friend and personal recommendee of Mahatma Gandhi.
And all the big names that we associate with the independence movement, Nehru, Gandhi, Patel, were in fact family friends.
Patel more than Nehru, I would say. Because from childhood we saw Patel and Sardar in and out. Maniben Patel, in fact, his daughter, who was always very, very serene and austere, she would laugh and joke with us. And Sardar Patel, my first recollection of Delhi visit was in 1948, first Governor's Conference. We stayed in Sardar Patel's house in 1 Aurangzeb Road. And we were getting in the way when they were leaving for Rashtrapati Bhavan. So Sardar said, "Arey bachcho ke liye kuch khelne ka intezam karo Gujarati mein. Give them some toys." So in the evening when they came back, he said, "Maniben, what did you do with children all day?" I got them live toys. She had collected all the malis and drivers and everybody's children.
So in the sense you've been used to commanding people from being actually a little baby.
Oh, my. I wish that were true, Karan, but I think something rubbed off, yes.
Now, in fact, your grandfather was the patriarch of the family, but little Sonal was very special to him, wasn't she?
Yes, I mean, being the second child, elder sister and younger brother, I was sandwiched. And he had a special eye for me. And he was very indulgent. He was indulgent to all, especially women. And but I was, I think, quite special. And I treated him more as a friend than as a grandfather.
When you first took to dancing, it wasn't something that he was particularly keen you should do. And in fact, in your teens, you often clashed with him over dancing lessons, didn't you?
The irony was that as governor, he entertained all the big names of Indian art. Musicians, instrumentalists, dancers, they all, Bade Ghulam Ali Khan, Omkar Nath Thakur, M.S. Subbalakshmi, Uday Shankar, Siddheshwari, well, you name them, and they were all state guests, staying in the government house. Every day concerts were held. So he was very fond of that. We were taught with private teachers and at school. I never went to convent school, by the way. We were all put in Gujarati medium schools. When it came to doing dance, in a real big way, going from Arangetram, the maiden debut, working morning and evening. And then he put a stop and said, "What's all this going on? I don't want a dancer in my Nachne Wali, in my house." So clashes, I think, made my resolve that much firmer and gave an idea to him that here was something after his heart.
There was a day when he caught you going to a second dance lesson of the day, and he stopped you, said, "Go to your room," but everything went very differently, didn't it?
Absolutely differently. I did go to my teacher and broke down and cried and refused to go back to Government House. He sent ADC secretary one. At night at about 10:30, 11, they drove me back in their little Morris 8, and there he was sitting and my mother was there, and he was very upset, but I was more upset because I just vanished into my room. My teachers did the talking, and for 3 days I didn't eat, I didn't drink, I refused to see anyone.
You were sulking with your grandfather?
I was. But then you see, Karan, what I learned from him was that be always open to reasoning, to logic, to arguments, to a dialogue. On the third day, he finally just came and physically got me and put me on his lap. I said, I want to talk to you, talk to me. I know you are very angry. I want to hear what you have to say. And so I said, you know, how do you account for this kind of a thing? You stopped me from going. Rukmini Devi is your personal friend. And you said, no dancing. Why did you teach me dance? And why did you scold me in front of Nijilingappa, the chief Wilson judge? You know, that was another thing, that what you have to say should be said in person, not in front of others. At that age, one is so, you know.
Did you win him around? Did you convince him that there was essential truth in your position?
Yeah. And Karan, that is the time I'll never forget. The guidelines for my career were drawn. He said one thing, promise me one thing, and I'll do everything for you. And that one thing was, I would never use dance as business.
And have you stuck by that golden rule?
I have.
So dance has been, in a sense, creativity. It's not been money-making for Sonal.
No. Otherwise, I would have built my own houses and whatnot and institutes instead of living in a rented apartment, fighting in the courts, and not being able to build my institution even after 10 years.
But you know, one of the things dance did do was to bring into your life a succession of very colourful men. And I believe one of the earliest admirers was the Polish director Andrzej Wajda. Is that right?
Yes. I was Sonal Pakwasa, then not married, and come to dance for the earlier film festivals. Then there were, you know, really chosen people used to come. And at Rashtrapati Bhavan, then there was a dinner. But he just sort of sought me out. I danced with him. Come especially from Bombay. I still remember his blue eyes. And very interesting man. At that point, I was willing to run away with him.
But you never did. You restrained yourself. So your unconventional lifestyle has made you, sadly at times, the butt of social gossip. Have you contended with it? You ignore it completely. Literally, water off a duck's back. But there have been times, haven't there, when it's costed you. I mean, for instance, you were struck off the national honours for a long, long time because people thought you weren't right.
Yeah, that I was leading an immoral life. But this was well, Karan, because then it made a past to be rather, you know, feeling guilty about it all. And finally, when the honour came, it came in a big way.
Tell me how it came, because there's a lovely, charming story attached to it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very moving. I still feel very moved. Sri R. Venkatraman was our president then, and he had seen me dance as finance minister, as vice president, and liked me very much. So one day I got a call from Gopal Gandhi, who was then his joint secretary. He says, President wants to see you. Now, off and on, every month, 2 months, I used to go and see him and say hello. And I said, okay, come and have tea and bring your biodata. I said, my biodata? Come on. I said, just do as I said, please, and don't be late, because I was known to be late, you know, 5 minutes. So I was there in time, and I was ushered in, and all the nice things came to eat, and we had coffee, filter coffee, and we talked about this and that, and suddenly he says, now, you have brought something for me? So I said, sir, didn't Gopal tell you? I said, yes, sir, but I mean, give it to me. So he took it and he scanned through it quickly, and then says, is it true that you have not been honored? I said, yes, I've got this. Have you been honored with the national award, the Padma Award? I said, no, sir, but you know, it might have been an award. He said, now, if you allow me, I would like to rectify that mistake. He literally uses rectify this mistake. At that point, I broke down, and I think I wept. And I bowed to him and said, it will be my great good fortune and privilege, whatever I said, I don't know what I said. But this was something so fantastic, that the President of India should summon me and offer this to me.
It was enough to sort of wipe out the memory of all the earlier insults and innuendos you'd had to suffer.
Yeah.
Of course, there was another person from the establishment who also was a close friend of yours, Morarji Desai. And when he was Prime Minister, I gather you almost inspired the choice of the new president.
Yeah, yes, I'm very proud of that. We had gone to meet him because he complained to my father that I've become Prime Minister, all world has come to me, Sonal hasn't come to meet me. My father scolded me, and I said, all right, go. And he was a family friend. So I saw Neelam Sanjeev Reddy coming out of his room. He was then the Speaker of the Parliament. So what is he doing here? And I've been always like this, Mupak, you know. And he says, well, he wants to become the president. I said, can't you ever think beyond politicians and politics? He said, what do you mean? I said, well, what about artists? Somebody I said, great people. Give me a name. I said, I'll give you a woman's name, Rukmini Devi. A good name, where is she known that? So finally, Rukmini Devi turned down the proposal, which was such a sad thing. So to date, you haven't had an artist or a woman as the president of India.
Amazing. You almost chose the name of the biggest job in the country.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're 56 today and alone. Are you also lonely? Do you miss having children?
I'm alone by choice. I like my solitude. I've created my space and my pace and my time after great struggle, Karan. Do you know what it means to live your own life the way you want? So many people say they don't do it. I don't make anybody my family. I don't want a family. I just want my friends, I want my students, I want everyone to be happy. I want to be left alone after some point. I think it's inborn in my nature. I like my solitude. I like to be with myself, to read, to do whatever I like. And I want no interference. Thank you very much.
Awesome. With this, we come to the end of this morning's events. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope to see you all with more friends and family in the evening. Namaskar.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sonal.